Detective Radio brings you a Christmas special series. 'Tis the season of crime. This Christmas season, warm up with the best of crime thrillers from the golden age of radio. Immerse yourself in the most captivating holiday mysteries, featuring legendary detectives like Dragnet, Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, Inspector Hanaud, and many more Christmas-themed crime dramas. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Detective Radio for all the latest updates. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Today's first mystery is Dragnet-Rifle for Christmas.
It was Thursday, December 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work, and it was 3:55 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Joe. Ben? Well, here's the file on the Webster case.
Have all the follow-ups been made?
Yeah. I'll get it. Homicide, Friday.
This Levinson, Unit 113J. Got something for you.
Yeah, Harry, what's doing?
Doherty and I are out here on Collis Avenue, 4656, trying to track down a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, what's the story?
The kid's missing, suspicion of foul play.
How long's he been gone?
About 2 hours. Looks like a job for homicide.
How'd he figure?
The kid was last seen playing in the backyard of his home.
Yeah?
We checked over the yard.
Did you find anything?
Bloodstains, lots of them. They look new.
Ben and I left a message for Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. Then we went over to the crime lab, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones, and drove out the Arroyo Seco freeway to Collis Avenue. It was an average neighborhood. Number 4656 was a one-story green stucco residence situated on the corner of Collis Avenue and Harrison Drive. Beyond the backyard was a tract of undeveloped land covered with scrub oak. Harry Levinson from Highland Park Juvenile was waiting for us in front of the house.
It's back this way, fellas. Coming, Lee. Till I get my bag.
Who notified you that the boy was missing, Harry?
The mother said she went out to do some Christmas shopping about 11 this morning, left the boy home.
Mm-hmm.
She came back about 2 this afternoon. He was gone.
What's the name?
Johnstone. The kid's name is Stanley, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Was this gate open like this when you got here?
Yeah, I haven't touched the thing. I hear the stains over here, Lieutenant Jones, along the edge of the walk. See?
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, quite a few stains, huh?
Yeah. Looks like it might be blood. Try some benzodine on them. There we are. See what happened.
Where's the kid's mother now, Harry?
Yeah, in the house. Doherty's talking to her.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
People next door, the ones on this side. They couldn't tell us anything.
There it is, fellas.
Yeah, Lee.
These spots I covered with benzodine are turning blue. Bloodstains, all right. Can't say definitely whether it's human or animal blood.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to go back to the lab to run it through?
Yeah, biological precipitant test. Hand me one of those glass files from my bag, will you?
Yeah, sure. Okay, here you go.
Thanks. Scrape some flakes off for a test. There we are.
How soon can you tap the blood for us, Lee?
Precipitant test won't run more than 20 minutes. It'll take 3 or 4 hours to run a blood grouping, though. That's it. Anything else you want to check?
Levinson? Anything else?
Yeah, right here in my handkerchief. Empty shell. That marker over there by the rose bush? That's where I found it.
From a 22, huh?
Yeah, might tie in, might not.
Mark it and dump it in this envelope, will you?
Mm-hmm. Here you go.
There you go.
Did you get out a missing broadcast on the boy, Harry?
Doherty did about a half an hour ago. Here's a description here.
Thank you.
Will Mother know about the bloodstain?
No, we didn't tell her. She's worried enough already.
And she has no idea what might have happened to her boy, huh?
No more than we do. She checked all her friends and relatives. We're covering the neighborhood. No trace so far.
Not much to go on.
Bloodstains. Empty cartridge.
Yeah, it could mean 100 things.
Any ideas, Friday?
Just one, and I don't like it. 4:30 p.m. Thursday, December 22nd. The neighborhood search for 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone continued. Lee Jones went back to the crime lab to start the precipitant test and the blood grouping. Levinson and his partner Doherty from Highland Juvenile stood by. We called Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, and he ordered up a special detail to aid in the search for the missing boy. Ben and I questioned the boy's mother, Mrs. Ruth Johnstone, a woman in her early 40s. She seemed fairly calm under the circumstances.
Miss Johnson, is your boy Stanley in the habit of wandering off without telling you where he's going?
No, he's not in the habit of wandering off, but he has done it before.
Well, when was the last time, Miss Johnson?
You don't have any children, do you, Sergeant Friday?
No, ma'am, I'm not married.
Well, there comes a time in every young boy's life when he feels that it's time to leave home, go out on his own. Usually happens somewhere around 8 to 10.
I think I know what you mean. I have a boy.
Well, then you know how it is. My husband and I scolded Stanley one afternoon after school, and he was quite put out about it. Thought George and I were fair. Packed a few of his things and left.
Well, how long was he gone?
Oh, no time at all, about 2 hours. I was worried about him, but my husband said to leave him alone. Said every boy had to go through that stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you think that he's run away from home again this time?
Yes, I think so. He's been gone about 4 hours now, and I have a funny feeling about it.
Did you and his father have some misunderstanding with the boy recently?
That's just it. We haven't. I don't mind telling you now that we're talking about it. I am getting worried.
Is there any place around that he might like to visit, a hobby shop, playground, someplace he might be?
Yes, there's Jensen's model shop, Little Shannon Burroughs, but I've already called there, and he hasn't been seen all day. I've called all his friends, and they have no idea where he is either.
Well, we'd like a list of all of his friends and the places that he was known to frequent.
Yes, all right, I'll give them to you. Where do you suppose he is?
Where's your husband now, Miss Johnson?
At work. George works for the city. He's a fireman.
What house is he stationed at?
Engine Company 12. He's working the A platoon. He'll be home tomorrow morning. I haven't told him Stanley's gone.
Well, is there any chance that the boy might be down at the firehouse with his father?
No, he seldom goes down there anymore. No, I don't think he's there. I'm awfully worried. May I call my husband?
Well, certainly. Go right ahead.
I know George will be worried. Engine Company 12, please. Stanley's been gone too long. Hello? May I please speak with George Johnstone? This is Mrs. Johnstone. Thank you. Oh, I hate to call George at his work.
Yes, ma'am. Does your husband own a gun?
Yes, he does.
What caliber, do you know?
Well, it's a .45 automatic. He got a knife. George? This is Ruth. George, is Stanley down there with you by any chance? Oh. No, I can't find him anywhere. He wasn't there when I came home from doing my shopping. There are 2 policemen here. No, I said there are 2 policemen here. No, dear, I'll call you if we don't find him soon. All right, dear. Yes, you too. Goodbye. I didn't think he'd be with George.
At .45, is that the only gun in the household?
Yes. Why are you asking about guns? Has anything happened that you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am, just routine checking. We'll have to take a look at that .45 if you don't mind.
Maybe I should tell you we do have another gun in the house, but it's all wrapped up. George bought it for Stanley's Christmas present.
What if we could see it, please?
Yes, well, will you have to unwrap it?
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid so.
It's in the closet. Thank you. Thank you. We had to hide it. Let me see. Well, here's a paper it was wrapped in, and Stanley must have found it. It's gone. You see, here's the gift card and the box the gun came in, the rifle.
I wonder if I could look at that box, ma'am. Thank you.
How about it, Joe?
.22 caliber. Thursday, December 22nd, 5:15 p.m. It was getting dark. The search for the missing boy continued. We checked the list of Stanley Johnstone's friends. None of them or their parents had any idea of his whereabouts. We talked with Levinson again. He'd been in touch with the detail combing the neighborhood. They'd found nothing. We went down to Collis Avenue and 10th Street, service station on the corner.
One nickel, Joe?
Oh, I got one. Will you watch for Thad?
Yeah.
Okay.
City Hall?
2667, please.
2667?
Crime Lab, Jones.
Hi, Lee. Joe Friday.
Yeah, Joe. Any sign of the Johnson kid?
No, not yet. How are you coming?
Finished the precipitant test. It's human blood.
Yeah?
Working on the blood group now. Do you know what type the Johnson boy has?
Well, I didn't want to upset his mother. Thought I'd wait till the last thing. We're in the neighborhood.
Check with the family physician. That way you won't disturb her.
Yeah, I figured on that. Just a minute, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mick.
Most is pulled up.
Okay. Thad Brown's out here now. I'll check you later, Lee, huh?
All right, Joe.
Right, bye.
All right.
Oh, this way, Joe. Gentlemen, how's it going?
We just checked with Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It's human blood.
What do you think?
We talked with the boy's mother, Mrs. Johnstone, found a gun missing.
Yeah?
Caliber's the same as the empty casing Levinson found. It's 22.
You said the gun was missing?
Yeah, the Johnstones were going to give it to the boys a Christmas present. They had it hidden, but it's gone.
Any idea who took it?
Well, left the Christmas wrapping behind. I think it was the kid.
22 rifle, huh? 9-year-old boy. What is he going to learn? First, it's carbide cannons on the 4th of July. The city issued ordinance after ordinance. A few thousand kids around the country had to lose their eyes, fingers, hands before the parents would give us their full cooperation to outlaw them.
I know what you mean.
Sure you do. You and every other cop in the country became the heavies trying to clamp down on them. It's always the same story. This time it's guns for Christmas.
Well, I know what you're thinking, but we're not sure yet.
Listen, Friday. There's a city ordinance against giving a gun to a kid. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
There's a missing boy and a missing gun. There's blood on the ground and an empty shell. That's enough for me.
Well, we're going to stay with it. Something's got to break.
Yeah? I hope it's not the hearts of that kid's parents.
Hi, Chief. Been looking for you, Friday.
What do you got, Harry?
Found the gun. New 22 rifle. That says it's been fired recently.
Where'd you find it, Levinson?
Back up there in that scrub oak behind the Johnstone house. Mrs. Johnstone identified it. Buckley took it down to the crime lab.
Thanks, Harry. Miss Johnstone okay?
Pretty sick now. Doherty came up with something else.
What's that?
There's another one missing. An 8-year-old boy.
6:30 p.m. We talked with Officer Doherty about the other missing boy. He told us that his name was Stephen Moorheim, 8 years old. His family had just moved into the neighborhood. It seemed that no one besides the Moorheim family knew that the boys played together. Mrs. Moorheim told us that Stephen told her that he was going out to play and he'd be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. She told us that he was an unusually prompt boy and almost never overstayed his playtime. We got a description of the Moorheim boy and put out a missing broadcast. We called the Johnstones' family doctor. He told us that Stanley's blood was type O. At 7 p.m., we talked again with Mrs. John Moorheim.
Are you sure Mrs. Johnstone doesn't know where the boys are?
She has no idea, Mrs. Moorheim.
Oh, this is terrible. Just awful. I feel there's more to this thing, something you're not telling me.
Well, there's no use to upset you until we know a few things for sure.
And you're holding back something.
Well, now, please try not to worry, Miss Moorheim. There are certain things that we're going to have to ask you, routine questions in any kind of investigation.
Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes, ma'am. What is your boy's blood type?
It's a funny question. Do you think anything's happened to him? Have you found him and you're not telling me?
No, ma'am, we haven't found him, and we don't think anything's happened to him.
His blood type.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think I have it written down in Stevie's baby book. Yes, here it is. It's type O.
Thank you. I wonder if I might use your phone?
Yes, of course, it's in the hall.
I'll be right back, Ben.
Okay.
City Hall,
2667, please.
2667.
Crime lab, thank you.
Hello, Ray. This is Joe Friday. Is Lee there?
Just a minute, Joe.
Take 2, Lee.
Jones speaking.
Checking back, Lee.
Did you get the blood types on the 2 missing boys?
Yeah, both type O.
So were the stains, Joe. Type O.
p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. Still no sign of either of the missing boys. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown went back to headquarters to direct the search from there. He dispatched another detail of 50 men to aid in the hunt for the missing youngsters. 8:30 p.m. It was getting colder. The citrus growers were warned to expect a freeze. We went up the block to see Mrs. Johnstone. Her husband had quit work early and returned home. We talked with him. He could tell us nothing more than we already knew. We still had not informed either of the families about the bloodstains in the empty cartridge casing, which had been discovered in the backyard of the Johnstone home. It was more than possible that they had a right to know about our findings, but Ben and I felt there was no cause to add to the distress of the two families at this time. If the 2 missing boys were found alive and well, then the bloodstains in the cartridge would be of no concern to the relieved parents. At 8:40 p.m., Ben and I left the Johnstone house and went to the home of Mr. and Mrs. John Moorheim.
Miss Moorheim, you said your husband worked at a market?
Yes, he telephoned about 15 minutes ago, said he was closing up right away. He'll be here any minute. I do wish Stevie would call, come home. It's so cold out tonight. All he had on was a thin cotton jacket.
We'll try not to worry. We're doing everything we can. He'll be all right.
Stevie's father's such a sensitive man. He and the boy are so close. I know he's terribly upset.
Now, you're sure there's no place you might have forgotten, someplace where the boy might be?
No place. No. If anything's happened to the boy, it'll just kill John.
No.
You sit still. I'll get it, Miss Moorheim.
Joe,
Yeah, Harry.
the Johnstone kid, he's been found.
He's home, Sergeant. He's come home. Thank God he's all right.
Well, where's he been? Did he tell you?
No, he didn't. His clothes are all dirty and he's acting strange. I've never seen him like this.
How do you mean, Miss Johnston?
Well, he just came to the front door and said, "Hello, Mom." He sat down in a chair and stared at the floor. Won't talk to his father or me.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
No, go ahead. I asked him about the little Moorheim boy, but he wouldn't tell me a thing.
Where is he now?
Right over there in the living room.
Looks all right.
Yes. Son, this is a police officer. He wants to talk to you. Don't be afraid, dear. He only wants to ask you some questions. Son. You see, Sergeant?
Stanley, look at me, son. Come on, youngster, get your head up there. That's better. You had your mother pretty worried, you know that. You want to tell us where you've been?
We should try to get him to eat a little something.
You hear that, son? Want something to eat? Stanley, there's another little boy up the street who hasn't come home. You know where he is? His father and mother are worried about him, too. Just like your folks were. We're going to ask you to help us find him.
I killed him. I killed Steve with the .22. We were only playing, but I killed him.
How do you know you killed him? Maybe he's only hurt now, isn't that it?
No, he's dead. I know he's dead. The gun went off. I forgot we put bullets in there.
Where is he, Stanley?
I hit him. I was scared. I didn't want anybody to find him.
Where did you hide him, son?
In a cave up on the hill. I didn't mean it. He was my pal.
Do you want to show us where, Stanley?
Yes, I'll show you. Please, don't send me to jail.
.15 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone led the way up the hill behind the backyard of his home. He showed us the wagon, he moved the body, and his father came along with us. About 50 feet from the crest of the hill, the boy pointed to a thicket of scrub oak. There we found a small cave holding the body of Stephen Moorheim. There was a single bullet wound in his chest just below his heart. He was dead. We covered the body.
Stanley, how did it happen?
I knew my folks were going to give me the gun for Christmas. I knew where it was, and I got it. There was a box of bullets with it.
Were you pointing the gun at Stephen, son?
No, sir. No, sir, I wasn't. It was Steve's turn to play with it. I was chasing him. Tripped over that stump there, and he fell. Gun hit him in the stomach, and it went off.
Well, why do you think you killed him if you're telling us the truth?
I'm telling the truth. Honest, that's the truth.
Well, I believe you, son, but why do you think you killed him?
It was my gun. Stevie'd still be alive if I didn't go and get it. I should have waited till Christmas. It's all my fault.
Well, where have you been all this time?
In the cave with Steve.
Well, what were you doing in there, son?
I was praying. I was praying for God to make him alive again.
After a thorough investigation, Ben and I were convinced that the shooting of Stephen Moorheim was accidental. Lieutenant Lee Jones' findings substantiated the Johnstone boy's story even to the smallest detail. We put in a call to the coroner's office and acquainted him with the facts. He designated a local mortuary to handle the body pending autopsy and granted us permission to remove the body to the Moorheim home. Mrs. Moorheim collapsed. The family doctor was called. Ben and I sat in the living room to wait for John Moorheim, the dead boy's father.
Edith? Edith?
Mr. Moorheim?
Yeah, you the police?
Yes, sir.
Well, where's Edith? Where's my wife? Has my boy come home? Have you found him?
Yes, sir.
Well, where is he? Steve? Stevie? Where's Steve? He's hurt, isn't he?
Yes, sir, yes.
Well, where is he? I want to see him.
He's hurt bad, Mr. Moorheim.
Where is he? I want to see him. How bad?
Pretty bad.
He's dead. All right if I go in.
Yes, sir, if you want to.
Will you go with me?
Sure. Don't make it any harder on yourself, Mr. Moorheim.
I want to see my boy.
Mr. Moorheim.
Listen to me, son. We got you a lot of nice things for Christmas. Everything you wanted. I got you the 3 new cars for the train. That one with the searchlight on it really works, son. Got you that new switch you wanted. A lot more track. Oh, now you can have a big layout. And you know that new baseball mitt we saw? I got it for you. The cowboy outfit you wanted. I got it.
Mr. Moorheim.
Come on, you. What happened?
It was an accident. He was playing with a Johnstone boy up the street. Playing with a gun. It went off.
What was the other boy's name?
Stanley Johnstone. It was an accident.
Mr. Moorheim, where are you going?
I want to see that boy.
We had no idea what the dead boy's father had in mind. We didn't feel that we should try to restrain him. We went along with him up the street to the Johnstone home.
I'm Stevie's father. Where's your boy?
I'm sorry. We bought the rifle. We were going to tell him not to use it unless his father was with him until he learned how to treat firearms.
Where's your boy?
Right here. Won't you come in?
It's all right, Miss Johnstone.
You the boy that was with Stevie?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Stanley.
I know it wasn't your fault, Stanley. Wonder if you'd do something for me.
Yes, sir.
I've got a lot of nice presents for Stevie. I know he'd want you to have them. I want to give them to you Christmas Eve.
Mom?
I think that'd be a fine idea, son.
Come on, men.
Well, what's it all prove, Joe?
You don't give a kid a gun for Christmas.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 24th, 1948, a coroner's inquest was held in the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that inquest. At the coroner's inquest, it was officially recorded that Stephen Moorheim's death was the result of an accident. Stanley Johnstone was absolved of any legal responsibility for his friend's death.
If you like our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share with your friends and family.
Up next, you will be listening to Sherlock Holmes, Adventure of a Christmas Bride.
And now how about that Christmas bride, Dr. Watson?
Her name was Ginevra, and she was the heir and only child of Lord Robert Neville, 10th Earl and 54th Baron Pensdragon, of Pensdragon Castle. Yes, I shall never forget my first glimpse of that ancient and somewhat forbidding edifice. The walls grey and bleak, without their summer covering of ivy. The towers square and defiant, with the red or rouge dragon pennant angrily defying the winter gales. Well, as I was saying, a rather urgent message from Lord Neville on elegant embossed stationery had arrived at 221B Baker Street. Would Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson do him the honor of a visit to Pensdragon over the Christmas holidays? The visit to include the wedding of his daughter, Lady Ginevra, to the immensely wealthy but slightly middle-aged Wentworth Trimmingham, which was due to occur on the second day of the new year.
Now, don't tell me the eminent Mr. Sherlock Holmes was called in to guard the wedding presents, Dr. Watson.
Hardly, Mr. Harris. At any rate, the day before Christmas found us alighting from our train at a small station in the Cumberland Hills, which, as you know, are situated in the north of England. There had been a slight fall of snow. An ancient carriage with red wheels and the Neville arms on the door was drawn up to the station platform, while the anxious face of the lord of the manor himself, in top hat and earmuffs, peered through one of the steamy windows.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
That's right.
This way, gentlemen. His lordship's expecting you in carriage.
Quite a fall of snow you've had here.
Aye, sir. More are coming. By rights, we should have brought the sleigh. Only his lordship loaned it to the vicar for tomorrow night. Vicar always plays Father Christmas at the Hall on Christmas Eve, Hanaud. Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, sir.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Hop in before you freeze to death.
Thank you.
Are you here, Mr. Holmes? Your friend opposite. And now then, Dennis, back to Pendragon as fast as you can.
Aye, my lord.
Mr. Holmes, you are doubtless curious as to why I've invited you and Dr. Watson to share our Yuletide celebrations at Pendragon.
To be quite honest, Lord Neville, I didn't think it was entirely for the pleasure of our society, although Watson is quite an asset when it comes to carol singing.
Oh? Tenor?
No, certainly not. Baritone.
Oh, that's good. The vicar who leads the Christmas singing is rather proud of his tenor voice, and I may say he's not too fond of competition.
No?
Mr. Holmes, I have invited you to Pendragon to make sure that nothing occurs to prevent the marriage of my daughter to Mr. Wentworth Trimmingham.
Why is that marriage so imperative, Lord Neville?
To be brutally frank, Mr. Holmes, the Neville estates are mortgaged up to the ears. If the marriage does not go through on the 2nd of next month, I shall be bankrupt. Totally bankrupt.
I see. Has anything occurred, Lord Neville, to make you fear that this marriage may not take place?
Well, no. That is nothing definite.
Perhaps the Lady Ginevra hasn't been able to hide her distaste for the match.
Oh, no, nothing like that. Well, I wouldn't say it was a passionate attachment on either side. But they like the same things. She laughs at all his jokes.
What better foundation could one ask for a marriage, Watson?
Well, that's what I should have said. Well, everything was as smooth as silk until the Dowager Duchess of Terce gave the engagement dinner last month. It was at her suggestion that I sent you the invitation to Pendragon. She's been decidedly edgy ever since Percy returned in the midst of the betrothal dinner 2 weeks ago.
Percy?
Yes, Percy is my cousin, although he's only 7 years older than Ginevra. He's our next of kin.
See.
As a matter of fact, he's an orphan and lived with us at Pendragon until he went off to Canada to seek his fortune 2 years ago.
If anything should happen to your daughter before she produced an heir, would Percy Neville inherit?
Yes, Dr. Watson. Both the title and the estates.
Percy Neville's return was unexpected, I gather.
It was. Unexpected and melodramatic, to say the least. The betrothal dinner was being held in the great hall of Pendragon Castle. My daughter had just risen to return the bridegroom's toast. As she lifted her glass, a casement window was thrown violently open, and Percy walked in out of the night.
And now I should like to make a toast to my future bridegroom. Percy!
Good heavens, Percy, is it really you?
I'm sorry to make such an abrupt entrance, Lady Terce, but I came as soon as I received news of the engagement.
Percy, why didn't you let us know you were coming?
Let you know. Let you know when you never bothered to answer my letters.
But, Percy, we never received any letters. We thought you'd forgotten us.
I had forgotten. As if that would have mattered.
Percy, that's not true. You know how fond we are of you.
How touching.
Percy, this is Wentworth. Wentworth Trimmingham, my future bridegroom.
So, this is the little man they've sold you to.
Stop that. Stop it at once. I'm very fond of Wentworth.
Are you, my dear Ginevra?
Percy, why do you look at me like that?
To think you should so soon forget our family motto. Ne vile velis. The name Neville means that, you know. Ne vile velis.
Ne vile velis. Latin, I take it, Holmes?
Quite. It means stoop to nothing base, in case you've forgotten your Ovid, Watson.
Oh, teach your grandmother to suck eggs.
Tell me, Lord Neville, what happened after Percy quoted the family motto to your daughter?
He stamped off to his old rooms in the tower and hasn't been out of them since.
How does the Lady Ginevra react to this unfriendly behavior?
Oh, she says let him sulk. It's no concern of hers. Lady Terce, on the other hand, is thoroughly unnerved by Percy's return.
Oh?
As she feels sure he'll do something outrageous the day of the wedding. Poor Wentworth is as edgy as a hen on a hot griddle. Well, of course, that may be due to his encounter with the White Lady.
White Lady? Who's she?
The ghost of the first Ginevra, you know. The bride who played hide-and-seek on her wedding night and was never seen alive again. Years later, her skeleton was found in her great dower chest, still dressed in her wedding gown. She'd hidden in there, and somehow the hasp must have fallen down, and she was locked in and smothered to death.
Seems to me I remember a rather famous poem on the subject.
Oh, yes. So all the Ginevras in the Neville family have been named after her. She's supposed to walk through the halls of the castle whenever a misfortune is due to occur.
Oh, cheerful damsel, eh, Holmes?
When and how did Wentworth Trimmingham meet the lady?
Well, Mr. Holmes, it seems it's his habit to knock on my daughter's door on his way to bed to wish her good night. Last night, the wind was rather high and he couldn't seem to make my daughter hear. Suddenly, he heard a strange creaking noise down the corridor behind him. Looking round, he saw the lid of the dower chest rise slowly.
Ginevra, my dear, it's I, Wentworth. I've come to bid you good night. Ginevra, are you there? Ginevra!
Who calls me?
What was that? Good Lord, the lid of the chest is rising. There's something... A woman in white. She's rising out of the chest. Who are you?
The first Ginevra. You called to me. So I have come to warn you. Go away. Go away before it is too late.
Then what happened, Lord Neville?
Nothing, Mr. Holmes. Apparently the white figure glided past my daughter's fiancé and disappeared up the tower stairs.
What did the lady look like? Blonde, brunette?
Wentworth says her features were hidden by the bridal veil.
Yes, interesting. I suppose anyone in the house would have access to that tower chest.
On the contrary, Mr. Holmes, too many people are possessed of insatiable curiosity. I keep the silly thing safely padlocked, I promise you.
How many keys are there to that padlock?
One, which I keep by me, here, on my key ring.
A very wise precaution.
I say, Holmes, your bed is even larger than the one in my room. The butler tells me Queen Victoria slept there when she paid a visit in 1846.
Don't look so superior, Watson. Queen Elizabeth, I'm told, slept here quite a few years before that.
Oh.
Come in.
Oh, Lady Tuss, beautiful and charming as ever.
Stuff and nonsense. Glad to see you, both of you. Something's going on here. Don't like it.
What sort of something are you referring to, Lady Terce?
Don't know. If I did, shouldn't have sent for you. Ginevra looks as if butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Bad sign. Percy looks like a thundercloud. That's worse.
I thought Percy had locked himself in his rooms and refused to see anyone.
I'd like to see anyone refuse to see me. Oh, but I'm Gavin. You'll want to view the premises.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to inspect that dower chest. It might be interesting to investigate how a lady in white can emerge from a carefully padlocked coffer.
Then you don't think it was a ghost. Neither do I. Well, what was she up to?
We shall be able to answer those questions better, Lady Terce, after you've had a look inside that box. I wonder if you could persuade Lord Neville to lend us the key.
Here's the key, Mr. Holmes. Lord Neville insists I bring it back the moment you've finished with it.
Suspicious old boy, eh, Holmes?
Not suspicious, Dr. Watson. Fussy. Well, Mr. Holmes, why the delay? Open the silly chest. Let's see what's inside.
So fast, Lady Terce, not so fast. First, let's have a look at the lock.
Heavy old bit of machinery.
Yes, almost impossible to pick it without showing signs. There are no signs.
Then whoever opened it used that key.
Not necessarily, Watson.
But there's only one key. Lord Neville told us so.
And if Robert says a thing, it's gospel.
Yes. Interesting carving around the lock. The wood's very old.
Naturally. Open it up. I'm dying of curiosity.
Very well. Lock needs oiling. Hasn't been unlocked for some time. I'll remove the padlock. Here, Watson, hold it. Now, Lady Terse, if you'll help me raise the lid.
Right.
Good Lord, what's that?
Oh, it's Thor, Ginevra's spaniel. Goes everywhere with her. Regular shadow. Oh, yes, here she comes.
Hello there. I'm Ginevra. Why, you must be Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Delighted.
Don't let me stop you, Mr. Holmes.
You won't.
Father told me what you're up to. I'm dying to see what's in the chest, too. Go ahead, open it up. Down, Thor, down, boy.
You see, it's a biggish box, isn't it?
Yes, a woman could easily hide in there.
Something white and satin lying on the bottom.
Wonderful. It must be her wedding dress. I've always heard it was still in there. Remarkable to find it in such good condition after all these years.
The remarkable thing about it, Lady Ginevra, is this dust and dirt on the hem. Watson, give me an envelope. I shall want to take a sample.
But that's fascinating. I've heard simply fabulous things about you, Mr. Holmes, and now I believe them. Every one.
Do you? Yes, I think we've seen everything there is to be seen here. Watson, you may close the lid and lock it.
Right. Aha. So this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes and his famous deductions. They told me you were coming.
They? Who's they? I understood you'd let no one in here, not even the maid.
You've overlooked Lady Terse. Try to keep her out of anything.
I didn't mention Mr. Holmes, Percy. Or did I?
Don't look so suspicious, Lady Terse. I've decided to be a good boy. I've even decided to come downstairs tonight and join in the Christmas Eve festivities.
Percy, that gleam in your eye. I've known you too long. You're up to something.
Dear, the vicar's late. Down, Thor.
Oh, calm yourself, Ginevra. He'll be here.
But, Percy, the snow's so deep. What if he can't get through?
Now, don't worry. The sleigh is light, and he has Vixen, the best horse in the county. Nothing can pass her, you know.
Oh, dear, I hope so. No, Thor, down. What ails the dog?
He may prove to be a bit of a problem, don't you think?
Goodness, I hope not. Oh, Mr. Holmes, I didn't see you behind that chair.
An ancient wing chair often provides a good listening post, my dear.
Now, look here, you meddling busybody.
Percy, please, you promised.
Suppose you allow me to solve the problem of the dog, Lady Ginevra.
Would you? I mean... Listen, sleigh bells. The vicar's driving up.
He's here. Father Christmas has arrived. Open the door, Paddleford. Now then, everyone.
Good King Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen when the snow lay round about.
Dearie, I have to declare I've never been so cold. My right ear's half frozen.
Come along, Father Christmas. Percy will take you into the dining room. You can have a hot toddy while you get out of your wrap.
That's a good idea. A good idea.
And better disguise your voice, sir, or all the children will guess who you are.
That's a good idea, too. Gather round all. Bring in the Yule log. Father Christmas will be with you in a moment to give out the presents to all the good boys and girls. How is that?
Vicar, you're wonderful. Now go along. Take good care of him, Percy.
Never fear, my dear.
Mr. Holmes, they're bringing in the Yule log. Come and help me set fire to it. Oh, look, Dr. Watson has caught Lady Terse under the mistletoe.
I declare I've never had such a Christmas. Come along, Ginevra. They're ready for you to light the fire.
Dear, where did I put the matches?
Allow me, Lady Ginevra.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Watson.
Oh, look at that. I say, Holmes, how she burns,
Oh, lovely. I do like to toast my feet in front of a Yule log.
I beg your pardon, Lady Ginevra, but haven't you raised your skirts a bit too high?
Oh, my goodness. I forgot.
Ginevra, my dear, your fiancé is making quite an ass of himself. Runs into the library every other minute to see no one's lifted one of the wedding presents.
Well, all that silver and your present, Lady Terse, the diamond tiara.
I'll admit that tiara is a temptation. You shouldn't have given it to me, Lady Terse. It's wonderful.
Oh, not at all. A confounded nuisance. Given me a headache for years. Glad to be rid of it.
Oh, here comes Father Christmas. Gather around the punch bowl, everyone, and we'll have a drink also before we give out the presents.
I say, we should. That's the ticket. I say there, Vicar. Father Christmas, I mean. Start us off on a carol. Can't drink your eggnog without a song.
Right you are, fair lady. God rest you, merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day.
Jolly, eh, Holmes? Nothing like a good old-fashioned English Christmas. Straight out of Dickens, don't you know?
Gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and
Hello there, Father Christmas. Not leaving us so soon.
Well, that is a long ride home. Must get going. Don't tell the others. Wouldn't want to disturb the party.
Quite. How about a hot toddy before you leave? Stirrup cup, you know.
No, haven't time.
I thought you might say that, so I prepared this jug full of grog. Keep it well wrapped. It'll keep you warm. It's a long, cold drive to Gretna Green.
But, what, Mr. Holmes?
No time to waste. On your way, Father Christmas. Think of me when you drink the grog.
We will. Wassail!
Wassail, Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
Hello, what's this? Vicar off so soon?
Yes, Lord Neville. He seemed in a hurry to get home.
Oh, can't blame him. It's a cold night. Let us get inside before we freeze to death.
Good idea.
Oh, I say they're ready to start the dancing. Wentworth's trying to find Ginevra so they can lead the lancers.
Help! Help!
Who's that calling?
Oh, good heavens, what's that?
Get me out! I'm locked in.
Someone's got himself locked in the dungeon. This way. The entrance is through the dining room.
I was hoping for more of a head start.
What's that?
Nothing at all.
Ah, this is the door to the dungeon.
Let me out! Let me out, I say!
Yeah, the door is bolted. Just a moment.
Get me out of here!
Good Lord. It's the vicar down there in his underwear and trussed up like a New Year's goose.
This is an outrage! Get me out of here!
But if the vicar is here, who drove off in the sleigh?
Presumably an imposter who stole the vicar's clothes. I thought it might be, you know, when I heard Father Christmas sing bass.
Say, Holmes, where are you? Lady Ginevra, her fiancé can't find her anywhere. She's disappeared, vanished into thin air.
Great Scott! Someone get the vicar out of the dungeon. I've got to find my daughter.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, come quickly. Ginevra's disappeared. Her dog is crouched in front of the dower chest, howling.
Oh, hurry, gentlemen. The same scoundrel that locked the vicar in the dungeon has undoubtedly put Ginevra in the dower chest.
I only hope we're not too late, eh, Holmes?
Wentworth's tried to break the chest open, but the dog won't let him near. There, you see?
Easy, thoughtful boy. Yes, I know what you're trying to say. We'll get her out. Oh, confound it, the key. Lady Terse, what did you do with the key?
But I gave it back to you.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, you did, too.
Quite all right, you know. No key needed. The wood's so old and the staples so loose, it's quite possible to lift the lock right out, like this. That's it. I'll raise the lid.
Great Scott, there's nothing in there but a roast of beef.
Yes. Thor's made off with it, I'm afraid. That explains his interest in the chest.
But if Ginevra isn't here, where is she?
With Father Christmas, I imagine. They're heading for the Scottish border in the sleigh. You'll never catch them, I'm afraid.
Oh, of course. She's eloped with Percy. So she did talk him round. Good for her. So that's why she trailed off up the tower steps in that old bridal gown.
I suspected as much when I discovered some of Percy's ashes on its hem.
But this is dreadful. I should be ruined. We'll have to return all the wedding presents.
Fiddle-dee-dee. Personally, I'll make mine a much handsomer contribution. Ginevra shall have the tiara and my emeralds as well. They're worth a king's ransom.
Lady Terse, you are an astounding female.
All women are. Oh, but we're keeping the dancers waiting. You shall lead the lancers with me, Robert. Come along.
Say, Holmes, you old fraud. I believe you knew what was going on all the time.
I suspected, Watson. I suspected. But when I saw the Lady Ginevra raise her ball gown and display a pair of traveling boots, I was sure. But come along, Watson. We shall have to go down to the kitchen and make peace with the cook.
Oh, why that?
For making off with Sunday's roast of beef. Something had to be done to keep the dog interested, or he'd have given the show away.
If you like our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share with your friends and family.
Up next, you will be listening to Back for Christmas.
As we listen to John Collier's famous story, Back for Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is. Hey, yes, my dear.
What on earth are you doing down here in the cellar?
Why, just a little digging.
And why, may I ask, have you chosen this day of all days to dig up the cellar floor?
Why, I thought as the weather has been so damp, this would be an excellent time to plant my devil's garden.
Devil's garden? Whatever nonsense is that?
Oh, that's my little joke about it. You see, I've managed to secure some of the spores of several unclassified wild orchids. In their natural state, they bloom under damp masses of leaf mold. The Araucanian Indians call them devil flowers because they appear to bloom under the ground.
Well, I'm sure the Araucanian Indians will be very interested if you succeed in growing these ridiculous flowers under the cellar floor. Whom else it'll interest, I can't imagine. What's that terrible smell?
Why, that's the leaf mold, my dear. Chemically identical with the earth blanket they grow under in the wild state. I really should line the pit with concrete so as to prevent seepage from this foreign soil. But I don't suppose there'll be time for it now.
There certainly will not be time for it. Do you realize that we're sailing for America a week from today, and you've made no arrangements whatever? Unless you call digging a hole in the cellar making arrangements. I certainly don't. Devil's garden, indeed. Sometimes I think you're going soft in the head, Herbert.
Well, I suppose it's inconsiderate of me. But, you see, I've been wanting to try this experiment for a long time. But what with my lectures and seminars at the university, there never seemed to be time.
Well, there certainly isn't any time for it now. I suppose you've forgotten I made an appointment for you at the barber's this afternoon.
Oh, must I shave off my beard, Hermione?
Now, we've been all through that. Of course you must. They don't wear beards in America. Go and get your jacket on and do as I tell you.
Yes, Hermione.
And don't forget to take your umbrella. It looks like rain.
Yes, Hermione.
Oh, don't look so put upon, Herbert. Someone has to plan things in this house, or you'd never even get to the university in time for your lectures, much less make arrangements for a trip to America.
I know, but what of my specimens?
There'll be plenty of time to plant your precious devil's garden when you get home from America. We're not going to be gone forever, you know. We'll be back here for Christmas.
Yes, of course. Back for Christmas. I'd forgotten.
Well, try to remember it. And if you can't do that, just do as I tell you. I've been making the plans in this house for 20 years, and if there's any digging to be done, I'll manage that as well. You understand, Herbert?
Yes, Hermione.
Good. You have just 20 minutes to clean this mess up down here and keep your appointment at the barber's. And when you finish there, I want you to come straight home.
Why, I wanted to stop at Miss Markham's and pick up some books I ordered.
Well, all right. But don't loiter there the whole afternoon, browsing over those old books the way you usually do. Now hurry and clear up this rubbish. Get rid of that smelly stuff. And no more digging, mind you.
Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. How many years have I been saying that? 10 years? 15? 20? Clear up the rubbish. Yes, Hermione. Don't forget your umbrella. Yes, Hermione. Do this, do that. Yes, Hermione. Yes, yes, yes. How much longer can I stand this?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Miss Markham.
Why, it's Professor Carpenter, isn't it?
You didn't recognize me.
Oh, you look ever so much younger without the beard. 20 years at least.
20 years.
Oh, you'll be glad to know those books you ordered have finally arrived.
Books?
Phytotomy of phalloid gametophytes and coniferous shrubs of North America. Those are the ones you ordered, aren't they?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. You're very kind, Miss Markham.
Why kind, Professor Carpenter?
Well, not many young ladies in bookshops would go out of their way to look up rare books for an old professor of botany.
Oh, why, you're not old, Professor Carpenter. Really, you look... Oh, and besides, I adore botany. It's my particular hobby.
Oh, really? Well, you never told me that before, Miss Markham.
Oh, I was afraid to. You were so imposing with a beard and all.
Well, You might be interested in some specimens of alpine polyanthes that were sent to me by a friend in Switzerland.
Switzerland? I used to go there for my holidays before the war.
You like Switzerland?
Oh, I love every part of it. The lakes, the mountains, the beautiful spring flowers. Oh, especially the flowers.
Oh, yes. It seems we have quite a lot in common, Miss Markham. I'm sorry we haven't talked before.
Oh, I am too. It is all the fault of the beard, I suppose.
Miss Markham, forgive me if this sounds foolish, but I feel that shaving off my beard is the most important thing I've done for 20 years.
Oh, it is. I'm sure it is. I'm ashamed that I've been so distant with you all the time. Oh, there were times when I almost spoke up. Times when you came in here, tired after a day with your students at the university. Oh, you seemed so alone. The way I'm alone in the world. I'd like to have asked you to stay a while and talk with me. But some way or other, I wound up giving you your change and letting you go on your way.
You say you're all alone in the world?
Since my father died.
Well, did you never think of marrying?
Well, my father was a very remarkable man. I never found anyone who seemed to measure up to what he led me to expect of men. And then the war came.
Miss Markham,
It's been so long since anyone called me by my first name. I'd like you to, if you don't mind. It's Marion.
Marion.
And yours?
Herbert.
How long have you been alone, Herbert?
Alone?
Oh, I knew you were a widower, of course, the first time I saw you.
A widower?
Oh, I can always tell. There's a certain sadness in a man's eyes. A sweet sadness, I think, when he's been married and then...
A widower? I never thought of it in quite that way.
Oh, perhaps I shouldn't be talking like this. But I've often wondered what she must have been like. Your wife, I mean.
Hermione? Not an easy woman to forget. Very strong. Always managing things. The house, my wardrobe, my friends. When we dined at a restaurant, she even ordered my food. She was always managing things. You might say she managed herself to death.
Oh, poor woman. She must have loved you very much. But she needn't have put herself out so. It's plain to see you don't need things managed for you. You need companionship, I think. Someone sympathetic with your work. But the last thing on earth you need is a manager.
How well you put it. The last thing on earth. That's the first time I thought of it, of course. But suddenly a whole new world opened up before my eyes. Marion and America and no more of Hermione's planning my life for me. By the time I got home, my mind was working overtime.
Well, at last. You certainly took long enough about it. What are you looking so pleased about?
I don't really know. Getting rid of the beard, perhaps. I feel 20 years younger.
You look even smaller. Your face looks triangular or something. I'd forgotten your chin was so weak. Oh, but never mind that. You can grow it back soon enough after Christmas. Where are you going?
Down to the cellar. I just bought this electric lantern, and I thought I'd put it away down there.
Now, whatever possessed you to buy a thing like that?
I don't know. I rather like this lantern. Might come in handy. Who knows?
Now, Herbert, don't start digging down there again. I've 100 things to do putting the house in order before we leave. I want you to carry these boxes upstairs for me.
Yes, Hermione.
And if you're going down to the cellar, take this along and stuff it into the furnace.
But this is my old bathrobe. I may need it.
Oh, nonsense. I bought you a new one. Get rid of it. And don't start puttering down there with that devil's garden or whatever you call it.
I'm through digging, my dear. I think the pit is quite deep enough now for my devil's garden. It would all have to be carefully planned, of course. Just as carefully planned as Hermione was planning the trip to America. We both went about our respective engagements as the days passed. I spent all the time I could with Marion, and finally she consented. And then it was the last day, the big day, the day we were to sail for America.
Operator, are you there? I'm still waiting on that call to Salisbury. Oh, we'll put them on quickly. Hello? Is this Paul Holt & Sons? Mrs. Herbert Carpenter here. Did you receive my letter? Oh, good. Now remember, we'll be back for Christmas, and I want the job done without fail. What's that? Oh, no, I'm sure he doesn't suspect anything. Send the bill to me in New York as I instructed you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, there you are, Herbert. Where have you been?
Backstairs. I dismissed the servants.
Dismissed the servants? But I've asked some friends in to a farewell tea. Go and tell them it's a mistake.
I'm afraid it's too late now. They've packed and gone.
Oh, you have messed up things properly. How many times have I told you to leave things to me? I make the plans around here.
Yes, Hermione.
You'll have to do better than this when I plan the trip home, or we'll never in the world be back for Christmas.
Back for Christmas, back for Christmas. Must you keep saying that?
Well, why not? We are coming back for Christmas, aren't we?
Supposing I were offered a professorship in one of those wealthy American universities.
Nonsense. Americans care nothing for botany.
Luther Burbank was an American.
Well, that's different. What have you ever done except muck around in the dirt with a lot of roots and tubers?
They've asked me to lecture. That means something.
Of course they asked you to lecture. Americans are paid to hear any foreigner deliver a lecture once. Now, there's no use getting yourself in a state about this, Herbert. No doubt this extra money will come in very handy when we arrive back for Christmas. Precisely. And it's no good you're making a joke of it. Heaven knows where you'd be today if I hadn't got a sense of time.
Yes, my dear Hermione.
And since you've been so foolish as to dismiss the servants, you may empty the ashtrays and straighten up this room while we're waiting for the guests to arrive. I'm going upstairs to change. Call me when they get here.
Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. For 20 years, Hermione, always so right. Thought of everything. Well, not quite everything. She's dressing now. Safe to call Marion. Oh, if Marion were to change her mind now. If she had any idea I was not a widower. Hello? Hello? Marion? Herbert? No, my darling. Nothing's wrong. My plans are the same. Unless you've changed. Oh, good. We'll meet in New York as we planned. Yes, I do love you, my darling. I'm sorry I can't talk any longer. Yes, I'll meet you in New York a week from tomorrow without fail. Goodbye till then.
Herbert, were you talking on the phone just now?
Yes, Hermione.
Whoever was it?
Freddie Sinclair, of course.
Oh, didn't I hear you say something about meeting somebody in New York?
Why, yes. Old Freddie said he might possibly get out to America before we leave, and I said, of course, we'd meet him there if he decides to go.
That seems very peculiar. But then all of your friends are peculiar.
Yes, Hermione.
And just look at your jacket. Have you been digging in that cellar again?
Yes, Hermione.
Well, there's no need for it. You can't possibly get that Devil's Garden thing finished. Go and change your clothes before the guests arrive.
Yes, Hermione.
Oh, never mind. I see somebody coming up the walk now. Go and let them in.
Yes, Hermione.
Herbert.
Yes, my dear.
Look out the window. There's Professor and Mrs. Hewitt. But who's that with them?
Why,
Precisely. Freddie Sinclair. Peculiar. You should have been talking to him on the phone not 3 minutes ago. And now here he is.
Yes, isn't it? But then, as you say, Hermione, all of my friends are peculiar.
Not half so peculiar as you. Digging in the cellar an hour before we leave for America. Just look at yourself. And now that I think of it...
Yes, Hermione?
Oh, never mind. Go and let them in.
You were going to ask me something, Hermione. But the hole I'm digging in the cellar.
Oh, good heavens. Stop rolling your eyes about that way. One would think you were digging a grave down there instead of a storage bin.
Yes, Hermione.
What's that?
I said yes, Hermione.
Oh, bother. Open the door and stop saying yes, Hermione.
I think, my dear, I've said it for the last time. Back for Christmas. Hermione was so positive we would be back for Christmas. That last afternoon, pouring tea for a few friends who had come in to say last-minute farewells, she kept reiterating.
Oh, I promise you, Mrs. Hewitt. Remember, we absolutely must have you with us for Christmas. Oh, we'll be back.
It's not absolutely certain, of course.
Herbert, what do you mean it's not certain? Of course it's certain.
After all, Herbert, old boy, you've contracted to lecture for only 3 months. Quite right, but then, of course, anything may happen.
Oh, Herbert adores being unpredictable. Now, what other man would dig a great hole in the cellar on the very day he was leaving for America? A hole in the cellar? Yes. He's going to put some unclassified wild orchids down there. A devil's garden, if you please. Sounds mysterious. That's Herbert, though he's really quite simple once you find out what he's up to. Now, take that telephone call he put through to you a few moments before you arrived, Freddie.
To me?
Yes. Herbert wanted to surprise me about your plan to meet us in New York next month. That's why he called, of course, to ask you not to mention it.
But, my dear Hermione, Herbert couldn't possibly have telephoned me within the past hour. I've been walking in the park since 3.
He didn't telephone you?
Well, how could he? And as for my going to America... Oh, come, Freddie. You may as well own up. Hermione has found me out again. But, Herbert, old chap, I really don't understand.
There. You see what a poor liar Herbert makes. He's red as a beetroot. Aren't you ashamed of yourself, Professor? Stringing poor Hermione along like that. And as for you, Freddie, I'm furious you said nothing to us about going to America.
But look here, old girl, I've been trying to tell everyone that I have no...
stuff and nonsense. The game's gone on long enough. Perhaps Herbert's merely planning a surprise for me.
Yes, let's leave it at that, my dear.
Well, we must start getting ready. It was marvelous of you to come in to say goodbye. And don't worry about Herbert's little jokes. Oh, I will bring him back for Christmas. You may rely on it.
They all believed her. For years she'd been promising me for dinner parties, garden parties, committees. And the promises had always been kept. This time they wouldn't be. I'd seen to that. The servants were gone for good. The farewells all said. I had timed to the minute how long it would take to fill in the hole in the cellar. In my devil's garden. Upstairs in the bedroom I undressed, folded my clothes over a chair and put on my old bathrobe. Then I opened the door into Hermione's room.
Are you ready, Herbert?
Hermione, have you a moment to spare?
Of course, my dear. I've just finished.
Then do come in here for a moment. There's something rather extraordinary here.
Good heavens, Herbert, what are you lounging about in that filthy old bathrobe for? I told you to put it into the furnace.
I shall do it today, yes. I really will, I promise.
Well, high time. Now, what is it you want to show me?
In the bathroom here. Just look. Who in the world do you suppose dropped a gold chain down the bathtub drain?
Nobody has, of course. Nobody wears such a thing in this house.
Then what's it doing there?
I don't see anything.
Here. I'll hold this flashlight for you. If you lean right over, you can see it shining deep down.
Oh, such a lot of nonsense. Just listen. I don't see it, Herbert.
Go on looking, Hermione. In just a moment.
Herbert, I absolutely refuse to wait. Herbert, what are you doing? Take your hands off my neck.
I will, Hermione, just as soon as I've finished the arrangements for my trip to America.
What are you talking about?
You thought you were the only one who could plan things, didn't you, Hermione? Well, I've been making some plans of my own this past week. In exactly 2 minutes, you'll be dead, Hermione. You see, 2 minutes. I've planned it very accurately.
You'll never get away with it. Let me go.
I thought you'd say that, but I will get away with it. You won't mind the smell of the leaf mold down in the cellar when I take you there today. Yes, that's where you're going, Hermione. Into my devil's garden that annoyed you so much.
Oh.
The soil is full of clay. It won't settle too much. In a month or so, it won't even look as if it had been dug up.
My friends, they all expect me back for Christmas. If they don't hear from me, they'll wonder. And if I don't come back, they'll start asking questions.
Oh, no, they won't. Because you'll write them letters, Hermione. On the typewriter, as you always do. They'll be signed H in that neat, cryptic way you always sign your notes to your friends.
Let me up.
No.
It won't work, Herbert. You never were any good at planning things.
Oh, but I've changed, my dear. I've learned from watching you all these years.
The lecture people in America, they'll expect you to be traveling with your wife.
I will be traveling with my wife. But her name will not be Hermione. Fortunately, they've never met you. I'll write a few letters home for you. Then fewer and fewer. Write letters signed with my own name. Always expecting to get back, but never quite able to. Keep the house 1 year, and then another and another. They'll get used to it. Might even come back alone in a year or two and clear it up properly. Say you died in America. Nobody will ever suspect you're lying under the floor of the cellar in this very house.
Oh, but it won't work, I tell you. That pit you dug in the cellar,
I can assure you, my dear Hermione, it will serve its purpose well. Sorry, my dear. I've got to get this done on schedule. You have just 5 seconds to say your prayers.
Oh, but you must listen. The cellar. Don't do it, Herbert. Herbert. Oh.
Hey. The water cut off at the main as I knew she would order it. She was so thorough, but so was I. Strangulation. Nothing to wash up. The electric current shut off exactly at 1 o'clock, just as she ordered it. She thought of everything. So did I. My nice new electric lantern. Plenty of light to work by in the cellar. The old bathrobe she wanted me to throw away came in handy now if there should be any chance blood stain. Then into the fire with it afterwards, the last evidence of my devil's garden. It was going well. Still an hour till I had to leave for the boat. The hold was almost filled. No. Oh, no, not now. Go away, please. Whoever you are, go away. Did I lock the front door? If it's the Wallingfords... Oh, no. Go away. Go away.
I say, Herbert, old thing.
Woo-hoo, Hermione.
Just keep calm, quiet. They won't look down in the cellar. Keep calm. They'll go away.
Where the dickens can they be?
Oh, the car's there.
Maybe they popped round to Liddell.
Oh, it must be.
Oh, to the shops, maybe. Something the last minute.
Oh, not Hermione.
Shall I shout?
Oh, don't. My partner's check.
No harm in a shout, my love.
No, let's come in on our way back. Hermione said they would leave us tent.
Oh, all right. Only I want a last drink with old Herbert. He'd be hurt, you know.
All right, let's hurry. We can be back by
6:30. 6:30. There's still time. After that, it was easy. Put the finishing touches on the Devil's Garden, dress fast, get out of the house before 6:30, take the boat trade to Southampton and board the ship for America. All according to plan. Hermione's plan. I say, Stuart.
Right, sir?
My wife is indisposed. She'll be taking her meals in our stateroom.
Oh, for the old voyage?
Yes, for the whole voyage.
Well, I trust your wife is feeling better this morning, Professor Carpenter.
Yes, a little. Not yet well enough to leave her cabin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, here's a copy of the radiogram you sent for your wife last evening.
Oh? Oh, thank you. I'll just check it over. I say, look here.
What is it? Did the typist make a mistake?
No. No, nothing important. She can correct it later. For a moment, I had the feeling that Hermione had been leaning over my shoulder again, correcting what I'd written, as she always did. I had written a radiogram to Professor Hewitt and his wife. Haven't been out of my cabin the whole beastly trip. Herbert well. We now doubt we will be back for Christmas. The copy read, we no doubt will be back for Christmas. Exactly what Hermione would have written. The rest of the voyage was uneventful, and Marian and I met in New York and were married just as we'd planned. Just as we'd planned. Professor and Mrs. Carpenter, we have reservations, I believe.
Oh, yes, we've been expecting you, sir. Boy, take Professor and Mrs. Carpenter's luggage up to their suite. You know, Mrs. Carpenter, you're quite a surprise. Your letter reserving the rooms was so, thorough. I was expecting an older, more forbidding sort of person, frankly, ma'am.
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, we're just married. But my letter reserving the room...
I wrote the letter, my dear, and signed it Mrs. Herbert Carpenter. Purely a joke.
Oh, what a cunning old fox you are, Herbert.
Now that I think of it, I am, rather.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's a letter for you, Mrs. Carpenter.
A letter for me? I wonder who knows...
Well, we shall find out in good time. Come along, my dear. We're keeping the boy waiting. nothing like a cold, brisk shower to put a man to rights.
Herbert, this letter...
Huh? Oh, yes, the letter. Dry my hair, will you, dear?
It seems to be a bill of some sort. From a building contract in Salisbury. Oh, bother. Dry your own hair.
Oh, thank you, my sweet. Let's see this bill, or whatever it is.
It's very puzzling. Herbert? You were a widower, weren't you? I mean, Hermione isn't still alive.
I can assure you she is not. Let's have that letter. Dear Madam, this is to acknowledge your order, together with the keys to your house in Launceston Place. Our men had no difficulty in finding the place where your husband had begun the excavation in the cellar, but apparently changed his mind at the last moment and filled it in again. Oh, no.
What is it, Herbert?
Our men will begin digging tomorrow, and you may rest assured that it will be a professional job and will be completed in ample time for your surprise Christmas present to your husband. We are happy to be conspirators with you in this thoughtful gesture, and hope that Professor Carpenter will be pleased at the results of our work on what he so quaintly calls his Devil's Garden. Very truly yours, Paul Holt & Sons, Contractors.
What does it mean, Herbert?
It means that Hermione was right. I will be back for Christmas.
If you like our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share with your friends and family.
Up next, you will be listening to The Saint, Christmas Eve Problems.
The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris.
Come in.
Hi, Mr. Temple.
Oh, hello, Louie.
Where are you?
I'm in my room. I'll be ready in a minute.
Hey, wait till you see my cat. I gave it a bath for Christmas.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to rush you, but if you don't hurry, Christmas Eve is going to be already Christmas morning, and what'll all them tots think?
Oh, them tots will be singularly fortunate. However, all I have to do now is get my whiskers on. There. How do I look?
Mr. Templar, if I didn't know you was Mr. Templar,
Yes?
I wouldn't know who you were.
Louis, don't I look like Santa Claus?
This may come as a surprise to you, Mr. Templar. Santa Claus is fat.
Oh.
You're not fat.
Oh. Well, hand me that cushion from the couch, huh?
Okay. Here.
Yeah, thank you. Now then. How's that?
Now say ho, ho, ho.
What for?
Santa Clauses always say ho, ho, ho.
Oh, I see. Ho, ho, ho.
Well, anyway, you look like Santa Claus. Hey, Mr. Templar, whose idea was this?
Mrs. Winterbottom's.
Oh, the dame who annoys tots on Christmas Eve.
Mrs. Winterbottom is a very well-known philanthropist, and every Christmas Eve she collects hundreds of small children and feeds them.
Yeah. Who feeds them the rest of the year?
Don't be bitter, Louis.
Sorry.
At least I ought to give the little tots a laugh.
Yeah. And I suppose there is something to be said for Mrs. Winterbottom.
Don't say it now.
Don't worry.
There's something to be said for Santa Claus, too. He does go around filling stockings.
Yeah, I know a blonde. Shouldn't say that either, huh?
No. Someone at the door. Louis, would you mind?
No. It's probably one of them tots. Correction. It's a tot 20 years later.
Get in.
I'm already in.
Back up.
I'm backing up.
Thanks. Now reach, gents.
Hey, you know, that gun in her hand looks loaded.
Now that you mention
Reach.
For what?
The chandelier.
I can't.
Why not?
No chandelier.
Oh, a wise guy, huh?
If you're going to shoot me, I insist on knowing your name.
Just call me Sally.
Sally. And your last name?
Never mind that. How would you like to get plugged in the...
Breadbasket?
Where?
Oh, let's pass lightly over that. I wouldn't like to get plugged anywhere.
And shut up.
All right.
Where is it?
Right down the hall.
Are you trying to be smart?
Not especially.
So it's going to be like that, huh?
Like what?
Now you listen to me, Fats Boylan.
Huh?
You shut up, too.
I didn't say anything.
Well, shut up anyway.
I'm shutting up.
What was I saying?
You just finished calling me Fats Boylan.
That's right.
That's wrong. I'm not Fats Boylan.
Ha.
Well, it helps keep the conversation
Look,
going.
Fats, are you going to stop stalling and hand over the stuff, or will I have to shoot?
Since I am not Fats Boylan, and since I have no stuff to hand over, I'm afraid you'll have to shoot.
Mr. Templar, that could be fatal.
You keep quiet, punk.
Who's a punk?
You're a punk.
Mr. Templar, am I a punk?
Well, Sally is just a little confused this evening,
Confused
Louis.
or not, she shouldn't call me a...
Shut up. Oh.
You don't have to start bawling.
I am not bawling. I
You were just about to shoot me.
Well, I know, but then you'd bleed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't stand the sight of blood.
Why don't you strangle him?
Louis, don't be unkind. It seems to be the doorbell again.
No, wait.
Oh, it's very impolite to keep people waiting.
But I must have been followed here.
Sally, look, stop illustrating a point with that gun. It might go off.
I don't care.
But then I'd bleed.
But where can I go? I've got to hide.
Well, try the kitchen.
All right.
Well, come on in. It's open house tonight.
Well, my old pal, Fats
I am not.
Boylan.
Although I'm beginning to waver. Perhaps I am. Simon, the split personality. Who are you?
Well, Joe Hudson. You remember your old pal, Hudson?
Hudson. Well, I must admit you look like a hornet, but your lines aren't as nice. Look, if I'm your old pal, why don't I know you?
Oh, that's easy. We never met personally.
Well, how else can you meet? Ignore that. But if we haven't met personally or otherwise, how can I be your pal?
Oh, I was just being friendly. Besides, hey, you got something for me.
I have?
Great little kidder, ain't you, Fats? Ain't he, pal?
Now I feel better. I'm a pal, too.
Look, I wish I deserved your delighted choice.
Look,
but...
just leave me have the stuff, and then I'll get...
Stuff again. What stuff?
Am I going to have trouble with you?
The door behind you is open. Why don't you use it, huh? In that way, nobody will have any trouble.
I'll use it after.
After what?
Such like that, huh? Ever see one of these before?
I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you, but the answer is yes, I have.
Good. And you know how it works. It shoots bullets at guys. Guys who get bullets shot at them have a habit of dying.
Really? Well, then perhaps you'd better not shoot that gun at me.
I won't. So gimme.
So I ain't got... Well, that is I...
That is, you ain't got.
Thanks, Louis.
Basic, I ain't a patient man. Hand the stuff over, or
I don't have any stuff.
Or you get shot.
I'd bleed.
Who cares?
I do. I hoped you might. However...
This could be a stall. This could be trouble, so you...
You can't shoot him.
Why not?
It's against the law. I read it in the papers. It's against the law.
Yeah, I believe you.
Oh, well, so that's okay.
Yeah, but I like doing things against the law.
Oh, well, you could go to jail.
I already been there.
Well, for shooting somebody, they'll hang you or something.
If somebody told them.
Well, I would.
You would, huh?
I would.
So maybe I'd better shoot you first.
Well, I wouldn't want to deprive Mr. Templar of the privilege.
Well, Fats, it's your last chance.
Oh, not that phrase. Also, I still don't know...
So it looks like I'm going to break a law. Hey, who did that?
You did, you dope.
I did not. This here's a plan. But you won't get away with it.
Goodbye, Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Templar, who made with the artillery?
It must have been Sally. She's in the kitchen.
She can stay there.
She saved our lives, Louis.
Yeah, but maybe by now she's found out she likes to shoot guns.
Let's hope not.
Hello.
It was nice of you to frighten Mr. Hudson off.
I did?
You did.
I didn't hit anybody?
No.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Hey, I've got her.
She's out cold.
Come on, up. Put her on the couch.
Yeah.
Come on. Up. Mm-hmm.
It's a little late, but somebody ought to mention she is not a bad-looking dish.
You've mentioned it.
Looking for smelling salts in her bag?
No. Identification. Here's a driver's license. Her name is Sally Walters. Address 49 Arden Drive. Social Security card. She's the secretary.
That's what I need. Take it back.
She's coming, too. Better put the bag back.
Yeah, but keep the gun, though. There's still some bullets in it.
No. We don't want her to know we went through her bag.
We're ashamed of ourselves?
We're going to pay her a visit.
She ain't home.
But she will be after she leaves here, and then perhaps we can find out what keeps the home fires burning.
Sally was in kind of a hurry leaving us.
So she was.
Mr. Templar, don't look right, Santa Claus chasing a blonde.
I'm not chasing her.
Technicalities will get you no place. Hey, this must be it. 49. What is she a secretary of? The Treasury?
Oh, I suspect this is where she works, Louis.
She works overtime, huh?
Yeah, and probably sleeps in. Come on.
Yeah. I hope that nobody is peeking because they'll think Santa Claus is off schedule.
I think perhaps I can manage without the whiskers.
Yeah.
Ouch!
Now you look like an imposter.
Will you ring, Louis?
Okay. You know, this is the type house I got a feeling Santa Claus will have to use the serving central.
Yes.
I'm Simon Templar.
You are?
I am.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Mr. Templar, all butlers are like him?
I doubt it. I think he's been practicing.
Haw.
Haw?
Well, good night, then.
I think not.
Would you mind removing your shoe from the door?
I would.
You might at least have shined it.
Humphrey, whoever is it at this time of night?
No one, madam.
Oh, but such an interesting-looking no one. Santa Claus, you've lost your whiskers.
I haven't. They're right here in my pocket.
How nice.
Actually, my name is Simon Templar.
I'm Carla Worth.
This is Louis.
Hi. Oh, I mean...
Hi.
Be kind to the peasants type.
Did you want to see me?
Now that I've seen you, yes.
Well, come in then.
Thank you.
But, madam...
Humphrey, go away.
Yes, madam.
Humphrey's such a problem sometimes. Shall we? Nice?
Yeah. Fire in the fireplace, books on the bookshelves, port in that decanter.
Yes, would you like some?
No, thank you. I just wanted to be sure the accessories were all correct. Someday, maybe I'll find some other wine besides port in a decanter. I dream.
Simon, are you the one who found them?
It's beginning again.
Found what?
My jewels, of course.
Have they been lost?
Simon, they were stolen. You know that, don't you?
Should I?
I've heard of the saint, Simon. I didn't know he was also a Santa Claus.
Oh, it's a fleeting impulse. When were your jewels stolen?
This afternoon. You see, Claude, my husband, that is, bought me them for Christmas.
Santa Claus.
Louis.
Sorry.
We decided to have the party this afternoon. We thought it'd be nice to have a quiet eve, so we did. The jewels were in quite a large box. There were quite a lot of them.
And?
Claude had hired a Santa Claus, but before the party was over, Santa Claus had disappeared. So had the jewels.
Well, there must have been some precautions.
Oh, there were several detectives. But the Santa Claus said he was going out to get some air while the party was on. He never came back. But he didn't have the jewels on him. The box was locked, and it was too large for the detectives not to have noticed.
I see. The name of the man hired to play Santa Claus was, of course,
Fats Boylan. And who may you be?
Claude, this is Simon Templar. And Louis.
I know neither of them. Snoops, obviously. Get rid of them.
Claude likes to behave as though he were an emperor on occasion.
The box wasn't found anywhere in the house?
The jewel box, no.
The jewels were insured?
Naturally. It's none of your affair. I shall speak severely to Humphrey. He should never have let you in.
I let them in, darling.
So now he's going to speak severely to her.
We'll go quietly, except... Mr. Worth, what is Fats Boylan's address?
I have no idea. Good night.
Good night, Simon, and I'm sorry.
So am I.
I'll show you out.
Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow.
Pronounced Carla Worth.
Yeah. What do we do now, Santa Claus?
We get into your nice, clean cab and... Hey, wait a minute, Louis. Now we're going to find out what became of Sally.
Simon.
Well, good evening, Sally.
I overheard. Fat's address is 17 Beale Street.
17 Beale.
Yes, I've got to get right back to the house before anybody notices. Goodbye.
An awful short visit.
But long enough.
Now we're going to visit Mr. Boylan?
I think so.
I hope he ain't so handy with a gun as the rest of these characters.
He may be, he may not be.
Now I'm all cheered up.
But there's one thing I'm sure he isn't.
What's that?
Fat.
Quite a change from the Waits dump. Now this is a dump.
Yeah, and Mr. Boylan would seem to be shy.
Mr. Templar, you said something about the one thing he wouldn't be was fat. Why, because he was called Fats?
Not exactly. Louis, I'm worried.
Hey, the door was open.
Yes.
Maybe that means our bird has flown?
Maybe. Come on, let's go in.
Okay. I ain't usually so poetical, but the light's on.
Yes.
And the room looks funny. Looks like a hurricane came to stay for dinner.
And remained for 6 months.
Somebody was looking for a jewel box?
And someone obviously didn't find it. The extent of the search indicates that. Nothing was left untouched.
It's a funny smell in this room, A couple of funny smells.
Yeah. One's perfume and the other...
Gunpowder. Huh?
Gunpowder.
That's why I ain't been looking behind any pieces of furniture.
It really wasn't very far to look, Louis.
Huh?
He's behind the daybed.
Fats?
Fats, Louis.
He ain't doing so good?
He's dead. And Louis...
Yeah?
He wasn't fat.
Mr. Templar?
Yes, Louis?
We're being followed.
Since
we got out of Boylan's place.
That's interesting. Louis, stop the cab.
That'll make it easier for whoever's following us.
Exactly what I want.
Even on Christmas Eve, this shouldn't happen. Now what?
We get out. Don't look behind you. Start walking.
This here is a nice, lonely street. Everybody else is home hanging up stockings. I wouldn't mind hanging up stockings myself. Who do you think it is?
I think it's our friend Hudson.
Oh, I just lost 5 pounds. You mean the guy that was chasing Sally, who was all ready to shoot us until she made the explosion?
A neat reminder.
Oh, you think he wants our money or our life?
Possibly.
What kind of an answer is that?
In here. Quickly.
Yeah. Mr. Templar, this here alley is full of garbage cans.
It's also dark.
You don't have to see garbage cans to know they're around. Hudson?
Yes. Good evening, Hudson.
What?
Don't turn around. I've got a gun on you.
Hey, I don't like it.
Louis, take Mr. Hudson's gun away from him.
Okay. Got it, Mr. Templar.
Good. Aim it at him.
Hey, now, wait a minute. You can't shoot me with my own gun.
Why not?
That ain't tactful.
What other gun could I shoot you with?
Your own. Hey, you mean you ain't got a... Oh, mister, you were a liar.
And on Christmas Eve, too. Hudson, who hired you to follow Sally and me?
It was my own idea.
Louis, Mr. Hudson isn't being friendly.
He ain't, huh?
He ain't. Therefore...
Hey, now, don't lose your heads, fellas.
We've lost patience with him, Louis.
We have?
Shoot him, Louis. He's beginning to bore me.
He's beginning to... I should shoot him?
Yes.
Fatal?
Fatal.
Okay. Except I don't know what my wife and 6 kids are going to say.
You haven't got a wife and 6 kids.
Now, wait a minute, please.
Louis, we're being cruel, prolonging Mr. Hudson's agony. Put him out of it.
Now, wait a minute.
Who hired you?
Mrs. Worth. Mrs. Carla Worth.
You quite sure?
Strike me dead. That is, don't strike me dead. Look, if she didn't, why would I say she did?
You have a point there. But why should she have wanted you to follow Sally?
Well, she had an idea. Her husband and Sally were kind of,
kind of decorating their own little tree together.
I couldn't put it more tactful.
I see. So if you got enough divorce evidence, Mrs. Worth could hold up her husband for plenty of alimony.
No.
No,
Mrs. Worth is the babe with the dough. Mr. Worth is a very well-educated bum.
Indeed. It's interesting. Louis, let me have the gun.
Yeah, here.
Wait, I just told you the truth.
I'm sure you did.
Mr. Templar, that's gratitude?
It's necessity.
Oh.
We need him out of the way for a little while. He's out of the way. Now,
Yeah?
Now we're going to find out who else knew that Fats Boylan was thin.
You know, if we visited often enough, I might even get accustomed to this joint.
You might also start confusing yourself with Grant. Good evening, Humphrey.
I'm sorry the family retired for the night.
Well, it is late, I know.
I wish to retire myself.
Why, Humphrey, you don't look 65.
Good night, sir.
Aren't you going to ask us in?
No.
Why, Humphrey, I thought you and I were going to sing Christmas carols together.
Let go of me.
Shut the door, Louis.
Okay.
I shall complain.
All right, but not now.
Mr. Templar, I'm going to wear that gun out, hitting people over the head with it.
And I couldn't have him warn anyone we're here.
Why, we're going to burgle the joint?
In a way.
Huh?
And a kinder description would be search the place, Louis.
Oh, for what?
Oddly enough, something that can't be seen or touched.
Sounds like a ghost.
Yes, and in the way it is, the ghost of a murderer.
It's the night Before Christmas, all right, but a creature is stirring. A couple of creatures, us.
We've covered all the rooms on the other landing. Therefore, the bedroom should be here. And therefore, this should be someone's bedroom. Let's go in.
We're sleeping?
Now, if I can open the door softly enough and look in. Moonlight through the window. Yes. The dressing room. Door beyond would be the bedroom proper.
Proper is not a word we're in any position to throw around.
We'll have to go in to the dressing room. Come on, Louis.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Louis. Inhale.
Mr. Templar, I don't usually take breathing exercises in the middle of the night.
Louis.
All right. I'm inhaling.
Well?
Perfume.
Mm-hmm. Familiar?
I could learn to love it, but no.
Well, then out we go.
You didn't care for that perfume.
It didn't tell me anything.
What do you want perfume should tell you?
Who killed Fats Boylan?
Another bedroom. We go in?
Naturally.
For a bachelor, that ain't the word you should have used. I'm beginning to get worried about this. Supposing somebody screamed.
Pull yourself together, Louis.
Okay. After all, like the poet says, strong heart never won fair maiden.
You mean faint heart.
All right, so for dinner I'll eat dog food.
Now. Another dressing room. Well?
Hey, Mr. Templar.
Yes. The same perfume we noticed. Uh-oh. Don't be frightened.
Simon, what are you doing in here?
Louis and I have been testing perfumes.
It's the middle of the night. You awakened me.
I'm sorry. I'm even sorrier about something else.
What's that?
The perfume you use is very distinctive, Sally.
I supposed to say thanks?
No. Because the last place Louis and I noticed it was in Fats Boylan's room. Minutes after he'd been killed.
Oh.
Not good, Sally.
You're making all this up, or...
No. This bottle of perfume will be evidence.
But I didn't kill Boylan. You must be joking about that.
I don't think a jury would find it funny. You knew about Boylan stealing the jewels. You must have helped him.
I didn't.
But then you found yourself being trailed by Hudson, who'd been hired by Mrs. Worth. You were afraid he'd discover the connection between you and Boylan. That's why you came to my apartment.
No.
Oh, yes. You hoped I'd throw Hudson off, perhaps frighten him. In the meanwhile, you could get to Boylan, get the jewels from him.
That isn't true.
But when you got to Boylan's place, you found him already dead, and the jewels gone.
I didn't.
It would be much better for you that way.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't be liable to a first-degree murder charge.
But there were detectives here while the party was going on. Boylan couldn't have stolen the jewels. They saw him leave. He didn't have them.
He did have them. He was playing Santa Claus, and he was a thin man. Santa Clauses, as Louis pointed out to me earlier tonight, are fat. Therefore, Boylan entered this house wearing padding underneath his costume. He left it with a large jewel box in place of the padding. That's how he did it, Sally.
You're smart.
You found Boylan. You knew his address. Therefore, you'd hired him in the first place. And therefore, also, a jury would believe you'd killed him unless you tell us who did.
Well, all right. I'll tell you.
There's really no need, my dear.
Oh, Claude.
Hey, Mr. Templar, tell him to point the gun someplace else.
Mr. Worth, point that gun someplace else.
I prefer this direction. You were saying, Mr. Templar, about the jewels.
The jewels were insured. Therefore, you, Mr. Worth, arranged to have them stolen.
Indeed.
Indeed. In that way, you could retain the jewels, the insurance money as well, and not worry very much whether or not your wife divorced you. Clever.
Boylan is dead.
How true. You had to see to that, didn't you? Otherwise, he might have blackmailed you for the rest of your life, or for whatever money you got out of the entire crooked deal.
I can see 2 other deaths. Yours, your friend.
And Sally? You going to kill her, too?
That depends, I should think, on Sally.
Claude, I never knew you intended to kill anyone.
There's no need to play the ingenue quite so strenuously, my dear. You were in on most of it.
But not murder.
I'm afraid Mr. Templar's pessimism is justified. I shall have to include you. But however did you get onto her, Templar?
Her perfume. To be precise, this perfume.
Well, you got him in the eye.
Yeah, I hope this gets him someplace more effective.
Mr. Templar, the trail of unconscious bodies you're leaving behind you tonight, if laid end to end...
Yes, Louis?
...would look terrible.
Simon,
Yes, Carla?
you've been very sweet. Even without your whiskers, you've been sort of a Santa Claus to me. May I?
With pleasure.
Well, I never knew Santa Claus could kiss like that.
Santa Claus is no saint.
Yes?
Oh. Hello, Louis.
Mr. Templar, you better put on your whiskers. You've forgotten all about Mrs. Winterbottom?
Mrs. Oh, well, the hour is past midnight. The tots have undoubtedly tottered off to bed by now. Louis, you may tell Mrs. Winterbottom...
I know. That the saint ain't no Santa Claus.
If you like our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share with your friends and family.
Up next, you will be listening to A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
And now, our version of the Christmas classic, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Once upon a time, there was a nasty old guy named Ebenezer Scrooge. He was nasty, all right. He didn't like anything, except maybe all the dough he could get his hands on. Scrooge had a little business that he started with his partner, Jacob Marley. The outfit was known as Scrooge and Marley Loan Company. But one day, poor old Marley just up and keeled over. So the boys along the big street gave him a nice funeral, and old Scrooge took over the business. Well, Marley had been dead for 7 years, and Scrooge lived alone in his little room over the office. And for a hobby, he hated everybody. He had a young guy working for him by the name of Bob Cratchit. Bob had a wife and 4 kids and made just enough to make ends meet. Scrooge used to ride him all the time. When it got so cold the polar bears complained, Cratchit would turn on the little heater, and Scrooge would say,
Cratchit, what do you think you're doing?
Turning on the heat, that's what I'm doing. My fingers look like popsicles.
Well, I don't care if they come in 6 delicious flavors. Every time you turn on that heater, it costs me money. Business is not good, so get back to your work and turn off the heat.
Oh, now look, Mr. Scrooge, I'm freezing. Now, this pen ain't guaranteed to ride under ice.
I tell you once more, get back to your work.
Okay, Mr. Scrooge. I don't know why you worry about business. Why not just put up a sign, turn the joint into a skating rink?
Well, this was no time for any decent guy to act like that. It was Christmas Eve. Along about 5 o'clock, into the office came Scrooge's nephew, Fred.
Well, Merry Christmas, Bob. Oh, Merry Christmas, Fred.
You get back to your work, Cratchit.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Oh, swell. Merry Christmas. Humbug.
Humbug?
Yeah, humbug. My old man didn't like Christmas, and that's what he used to say. Humbug.
Okay, humbug. But it's still Christmas, and I don't see where you get off not liking it. This is supposed to be the time everybody gets with it. Everything stops. That ain't much good, and you put your arm around the next guy, you tell him Merry Christmas.
I'll put my arm around you with a hammer on the end of it if you don't lay off that goodwill stuff.
Look, what's with you? What have you got against Christmas?
You show me a way to make $100 every Christmas, and I'll fall in love with it. Every time the holidays roll around, nobody pays their bills, and they all run around like they own the Chrysler Building. Look at you. $60 a week, and you're coming on like Rockefeller.
Well, sure, I make a lousy $60, but it ain't easy. But once a year, something happens with everybody in this big world. Well, nearly everybody. Because this is a day that somebody else started to make things right for us, and he had a really tough time doing it. It's more than just remembering. It's feeling. It's all around you. Christmas has got to be merry. Don't you get it?
You want me to be merry?
Well, sure.
Then go get some of these joyous clients of mine to pay off their loans.
The missus asked me to invite you over for dinner tomorrow.
Now, don't hold your breath.
Okay. Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Fred.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Humbug.
Late that evening, Scrooge went upstairs to his room, the room where Jacob Marley used to stay.
It was dark in the little hall, and when Scrooge reached for the door, he looked up at the big brass knocker and saw...
Holy cow! I could have sworn that was old Jake's face in the knocker. I must be working too hard.
So in he went. A little shaky after seeing Jake Marley's face, but he just passed it off his nerves. He closed the door and locked it, then went over and sat down in front of the fireplace. He got a fire going and started to relax. But every tile around the fireplace started looking like Jake Marley's face.
Oh, now, come on, Abe, old boy. You got to get hold of yourself. This is ridiculous, and I haven't touched a drop in weeks.
He got up and walked around the room a few times, then went back and sat down again. He stretched, rested his head on the back of the chair. From somewhere a bell started chiming, and Scrooge sat straight up in his chair. He heard something else, too. Something from downstairs.
What the... Oh, now, what is that? What's going on? Who's that? Come on, who's out there?
Then all of a sudden it came right through the wall.
Marley! Jake Marley. Oh, no. I got to stop eating lobster. Oh, it couldn't be. Hey, what's with you? Who are you?
Jake Marley. Who else?
You're dead.
The deadest. But nevertheless, Jake Marley.
His ghost.
You're very sharp today, Scrooge, old boy.
I don't believe it.
You got eyes, ain't you?
Yeah, and I got a bad stomach, too. That's who you are. Nothing but a bad case of indigestion.
You don't think I'm a ghost, huh? Okay, maybe a good scare will change your mind. Whoa!
Oh, no. Stay away from me. I believe you.
You sold on the idea?
Yeah, but why do you got to come to see me?
Regulations. Every man is supposed to live his life and help his buddies. If he don't do it while he's alive, then he's got to do it after he kicks off. Oh!
Now, stop that. Hey, what's with all those chains and things you got wrapped around you?
Oh, these? Well, this here chain is like my life. Each one of these links is something I did wrong.
But why do you have to hold it around with you? Why don't you check it someplace?
Scrooge, old boy, when we was in business together, I never took time out to do any good. I just kept making a buck and figured that was enough. Well, now I got to pay for it. I got to haul this chain around and try to make up for all the things I didn't do when I was alive.
But why come to me?
Because you're going to end up just like me, unless we do something in a hurry. Now, I haven't got much time, so you better listen.
Oh, I don't want to be like you. I'll listen.
Okay. You're going to have 3 visitors. You're going to be haunted by 3 spirits.
Oh, no.
It's the only way you can keep from being like me. When you hear that bell strike 1, the first one will be here. Well, I got to be going. You won't see me again, but you remember what I told you. So long, Scrooge, old boy. Your goosebumps can relax now.
After the ghost took off, Scrooge just refused to believe it.
Nuts. It's ridiculous. Humbug.
Then he climbed into the sack and was soon snoring up a storm. When Scrooge awoke, it was still dark, and the bell from the church on 53rd Street was striking 12. He laid awake listening and thinking to himself.
Oh, just a dream. Ghosts. Bah!
Finally, he dropped off again and slept for about an hour. Then the big bell struck 1.
1 o'clock and I don't see no ghost. I knew it was something I ate.
All of a sudden, a big light flashed in the room. The first of the spirits stood before him.
Oh, Jake was right. Are you the first spirit that Jake said would come to haunt me?
Yeah, you know it.
Well, who are you?
Me? I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah? How long past?
Your past. Come on, we're going to take a walk.
Oh, where are we going?
Just relax. I'm running this tour.
Oh, well, let me get my pants.
You got 'em.
Hey, they're on me.
With that, the ghost of Christmas past grabbed Scrooge by the hand, and they both flew out of the window. Scrooge nearly lost his upper plate. But before he could yell for help, he was standing in front of a dirty, ramshackle old tenement building.
You know where you are?
Sure, I know where I am. This is where I was brought up. Even the garbage cans are the same.
You had a pretty tough time when you were a kid, didn't you?
The toughest. I wasn't very big, and the rest of the kids in the neighborhood were. I had more black eyes than a crow.
You want to go in?
What for?
To see your folks.
My folks died a long time ago.
They're in there now. Come on.
Well, the ghost took old Scrooge into the building and showed him a Christmas years past, when he was a child with his family. Lord, it was tough living in two little rooms like that, but Scrooge remembered how wonderful it really was.
What's the matter, Scrooge?
Huh? Oh, got something in my eye.
You were pretty lonely when your folks, when they...
Yeah. You know, there was a young kid that came around earlier this evening and sang some carols. I wish...
Yeah, what do you wish?
Oh, nothing.
Come on. I want to show you another Christmas.
The spirit showed him another Christmas and still another. And you know, no matter how tough Scrooge remembered his childhood had been, it always seemed that Christmas was wonderful. Then the spirit took him to a building down to the river where Scrooge got his first job. They went inside, and seated behind a desk, Scrooge spotted...
Fezziwig! Well, I'll be darned. It's old Fezziwig alive again. And there's Dick Wilkins. He was a good boy. We got along great. He liked me.
Okay, everybody, it's Christmas Eve. You can knock off and have yourself a good time. You better lock up, Dick.
Sure, right away, Mr. Fezziwig.
And don't look so unhappy, Ebenezer. It's Christmas. Come on home with me and tear into a big turkey. All locked up, Dick?
Yes, sir.
Ready, Ebenezer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go and have Merry Christmas, you two.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Mr. Fezziwig.
Mr. Fezziwig. Merry Christmas.
Then the spirit took Scrooge over to Fezziwig's house, and they saw the wonderful party that Mrs. Fezziwig had gotten together. Scrooge watched and remembered, and the spirit said...
Wasn't Fezziwig a stupid, sentimental old goat?
Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you something. He was a great guy, he was. You know...
What, Scrooge?
I was just thinking about Bob Cratchit, who works for me. I think I'd like to do something for him. You know he's got a wife and 4 kids?
Is that right?
Yeah, 4 kids. Come on, I've seen enough.
Okay, but you gotta see these things if you want to get squared away. And believe me, brother, you need squaring away. Let's go home, Scrooge.
Before he knew it, Scrooge was back in his little room, and the spirit was gone. Scrooge was pretty beat, and he climbed into bed and dropped into a heavy sleep.
Huh? What's that? It's 2:00. Hey, that light in the other room. I got burglars.
Hey, Scrooge. Scrooge, come on in.
Who's that? What are you doing in the other room?
Come on in. Take a look. It's pretty nifty.
Hey, what is this? What have you done to the room? It looks like Macy's window. Where'd you get all the holly and the mistletoe? And how'd you get it in here?
You like it?
Oh, for Pete's sake, a Christmas tree. Who are you?
The ghost of Christmas present. Now, don't tell me you don't like the way I fix things up. I work pretty hard.
Oh, the second ghost. Okay, take me wherever you want to go, but believe me, the next time I try the train.
Come on, let's go. Now, what do you see?
Oh, I see bright-colored lights. People having a lot of fun. Kids on sleighs.
See that building over there, the one with a big wreath on the front door?
I got 2020. That's where Bob Cratchit lives. He works for me. Hey, look, there's Bob now.
Yes, going into the house. Up all those stairs to the 5th floor. And he's got his little boy on his back.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah, got polio last summer. Pretty sick little boy.
I know. Bob said he'd need a lot of care if he was ever going to walk again.
Let's take a peek.
Hi.
Hello, honey.
You and Tim have a good time?
Best. Didn't we, Tim?
Yeah, Dad. We watched all the kids on the block on their sleds. Mom, will I ever be able to ride a sled?
Of course, Tim. Won't he, dear?
Sure thing, Roughneck. Next Christmas, you'll be out there doing belly whoppers with the rest of them.
Dad, what's the matter? Your eyes are all wet.
Nothing, Tim. I just got some snow in them.
Want some dinner, Tim?
Oh, Mom, stew for Christmas?
I'm sorry, Tim.
Oh, that's okay, Mom. I like stew.
Bob, will you please say grace?
Can I say something first, Mom?
Of course, Tim. What would you like to say?
God bless us. Everyone.
What's the matter, Scrooge, old boy? Got some snow in your eyes, too?
Tell me something.
Sure, if I can.
What about Tiny Tim?
Oh, can't say for sure. But if his old man makes enough money next year to get the right doctors, little Tim will get along just fine. But times are tough, aren't they, Scrooge?
Yeah.
Now the spirit of Christmas present took Scrooge to many places and showed him a lot of happiness and a lot of misery. And finally, back to his little room, and the spirit was gone.
Oh, I don't know whether I can take much more of this.
Then a new ghost drifted in. This was the worst yet. He was really done up for haunting. He was all dressed in black with one arm sticking out and pointing right at poor old Scrooge. This was the last one of the spirits. Scrooge's knees sounded like castanets on a reducing machine.
Okay, you don't have to tell me. You're the ghost of the Christmas that hasn't come yet. You I'm really scared of.
The ghost took off as Scrooge right after him. The city disappeared, and Scrooge found himself in the outskirts of town, standing in the graveyard. The night was howling like it was mad. And as Scrooge looked down, he saw...
Hey, what's this? What's this stone?
The black spirit stood still and pointed, so Scrooge leaned down and pulled away the bushes and saw it was a tombstone.
Well, there's a name here. Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, no. Look, not this. Believe me, I don't want this. I know I've done wrong, but I'm not kidding. I really know what Christmas means. It doesn't mean just today or tomorrow. It's every day of your life. I swear I'll do better. Only take me away from this. Let me try to make Christmas right for me and everybody else. Please, don't let this happen. Give me another chance. Well, don't just stand there. Put your arm back in. You'll catch cold. Well, say something.
Suddenly, Scrooge dropped to his knees and reached out for the spirit. But something happened. The spirit started to shrink. Then it collapsed. And when Scrooge looked up...
What the... My bedpost. My own bedpost. I'm home. Oh, thank goodness. I lived the past and the present and the future, and now I'm home. Hallelujah. Spirits, wherever you are, believe me. From now on, things are going to be different. Oh, yeah. And thanks.
Paper! Mine and paper!
Hey, boy!
Yeah?
What day is this?
It's Christmas. What's with you?
Christmas. Oh, boy, I haven't missed it. The spooks did it all in one night. Boy!
Yeah? Oh, it's you, Mr. Scrooge.
How many papers have you got?
I don't know. Why?
Well, here's $5. Throw them away and go have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Scrooge. And a Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, boy, say that again.
Thanks?
No, the other.
You mean Merry Christmas?
Yeah, that's it. Merry Christmas.
Okay, I'm coming. What's the matter with you? Can't you see the store's closed? Look, mister, this is... Ebenezer Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, Barney.
Huh? Hey, you been drinking?
Not a drop. Well, what's the matter with you? Ain't you going to wish me a Merry Christmas?
Wish? Sure. Come on in. Wife's upstairs with her mother, but I got a bottle in the back. I think maybe you better have something strong.
Look, your grocery store's closed, but you could still sell me a turkey, couldn't you?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you got a couple, they'll just go to waste.
What do you want a turkey for? You've been eating at the automat every Christmas for the last 7 years.
Oh, it's not for me. But nevertheless, I have been invited to my nephew Fred's house for a Christmas dinner.
Well, then who's the bird for?
Bob Cratchit. You know, the young guy that works for me.
Oh, yeah. How much you gonna charge him?
Here's $20. That ought to be enough for the bird.
No. It ain't worth that much. You sure you ain't been into something?
Well, if it's too much, give the rest to your kid and have him deliver the turkey to Cratchit's house.
Huh?
Here's the address, and don't tell Cratchit who sent the thing, okay?
Okay.
Merry Christmas, Barney.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Well, old Scrooge went back to his rooms and took out an old blue suit out of the mothballs. He shook it out, put a few creases in it, and went out into the street. The old boy was really with it. Everybody he passed, he greeted them with, "Merry Christmas."
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Scrooge went to church and gave a large donation, and Father McCarthy nearly forgot his sermon. And then Scrooge went out on the street again and down into the Bowery.
Oh, God bless you, sir, and a Merry Christmas.
Isn't it, though?
He kept walking and having a great time. Later that afternoon, he arrived at his nephew's house.
Well, what the... Merry Christmas, Fred. I've come to dinner.
Oh, my gosh.
Here, I brought you some presents.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, don't thank me. It's Christmas, remember?
Oh, my gosh.
Next morning, Scrooge was early at the office. If he could just catch Cratchit coming in late. And he did. Bob was a good 21 minutes late.
Cratchit?
Oh, no.
You're 21 minutes late.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Scrooge. I had a big evening last night.
You did, huh? You know what I told you if I caught you fancy-footing it in here late again.
Okay, so I'm canned.
You think you got it coming?
Oh, I'm too tired to argue, Mr. Scrooge. Jobs are tough enough, and I hate to lose this one, but I'm just too tired.
A raise would help, huh?
That's the silliest question of the year.
Then you got it. It's in that envelope.
Well, what?
Yeah, and maybe after we see how the funds are, we can do something about Tiny Tim.
No, I don't get it. A raise? You want to do something about Tim? I don't get it.
Sure you do, Bob. Haven't you heard? It's Christmas. Now, go on home, take the day off.
Yeah.
Take the week off.
Oh.
Come back when you feel like it. Merry Christmas.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yeah?
Merry Christmas.
And Scrooge really did it. He was as good as his word, better even. He made it the merriest Christmas ever. And later, things got better, and he took care of Tiny Tim. And sure enough, Tim was out on his sled the next Christmas doing belly whoppers with the best of them. Every Christmas thereafter, all along the big street, it was said, if anyone knew how to make Christmas merry, old Ebenezer Scrooge was that one.
And I hope that can really be said about all of us, just like Tiny Tim said.
God bless us. Everyone.
That's right, Tim. God bless us. Everyone.
Merry Christmas. God bless everyone.
If you like our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share with your friends and family.
Up next, you will be listening to Bustin' Blackie, The Stolen Rings.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle
Faraday.
bells. Huh?
Faraday, just because we're going out to have Christmas dinner together, don't forget you're driving an automobile, not a sleigh.
Now, Blackie, don't tell me you object to Inspector Faraday's being full of Christmas spirit on Christmas Eve.
No, Mary, I just object to his voice.
Very amusing. Blackie, I know now what I should have given you for Christmas. A sense of humor.
If I didn't already have one, how can I tolerate you?
Well, somebody should give you both a book of instructions on how to get along.
And especially he, him.
You know we're only kidding, Mary.
We are.
Stop that man. Stop that man.
What?
Hey.
Did you hear that, Blackie?
Oh,
I
not
only
trouble
hear it, I
on
see it.
Christmas Eve.
Shopkeeper's chasing a man up the street. Step on it, Faraday. We can catch him.
Don't tell me what to do.
Pull up to the curb now, Inspector, and I can grab him.
Now take it easy. Take it.
Okay, we just passed him. Wait, don't jump till I've slowed down a little.
Well, hurry up, or he'll pass us.
Now, Blackie, be careful.
You mean Blackie, be quick.
Well, now
Here
look
goes.
out.
Here goes. All right, you. You hold it right here now.
Let go of me, Matt. Let go of me.
Sure, as soon as the shopkeeper you just robbed gets here, and here he comes.
Hold on to him. Hold on to him. He took 4 diamond rings out of my store. Now, give me those rings. Give them to me.
I don't have no rings of yours, Mac.
Oh, yes, you do. Right in your pocket here. I've watched you since you ran out of the store. You couldn't have given them to anybody.
I'll hold them while you search.
Yeah, let go.
Okay. Why, they're not here.
No, because I didn't take nothing, see?
Well, where are my rings? I want those rings.
So go find them. Only I got news for you. You ain't gonna find them on me.
And now on to Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
He took the rings out of the tray on the counter here, Inspector Faraday.
You said that.
Yes, but he did. He took the rings and ran out that door.
Sorry, Mr. Stacy. Unless I find the stolen rings on this guy here, what can I do about it?
Nothing, Faraday. Absolutely nothing.
Quiet, you.
Look, Blackie, you and this copper pal of yours searched me twice. Out on the street and here in the store. The rings ain't on me.
But they are. You took them. I saw you.
If I took a Mac, where are they now?
I have a pretty good idea.
I hope it's better than pretty good, Blackie, because this guy's made 4 rings do a pretty good disappearing act.
And I know how, too.
Yeah.
He threw them away when he saw he was being chased.
That's a lie.
Yes, he could have done that. He could have.
I'd like to bet he didn't.
Oh, go ahead, bet. Only let me alone. It's Christmas Eve. I got someplace to go.
I'll say you have. To headquarters, where I'm going to hold you until I find out who you are. And if you want it for anything else.
The only thing I want it for is Christmas Eve dinner. Hey, Blackie.
Yeah?
You're supposed to be such a genius. What happened?
Friend, before I'm through with you, for your Christmas dinner, I'm going to make you eat those words.
All visitors back behind the ropes, please. The passengers are coming down the gangplank now.
Hey, God.
Yes, what is it?
My name's Clark. I'm here to pick up a guy who don't speak English. Say not a word of it. Will you help me find him?
You know what he looks like?
Yeah, he's a big guy, about 6'6", maybe 250 pounds. His name's Abby.
Well, there's the big guy coming down the gangplank now with a sign on him. Maybe that's the guy.
Oh, yeah, he looks like the guy I want. Hey, Abby! Abby!
Yeah, he's coming over, so I guess he understands his name, even if he doesn't understand English.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks.
No trouble at all. All visitors behind the ropes, please.
Sanya Abby. Bolo Grino. Retsim Clark.
Ratsim Clark. Braga.
Sitaba Abby, you big jerk.
Braga. Ratsim Clark.
All right. You don't know what I'm talking about, Abby, because you don't know a word of English. But you use a gun good. Pretty good, they tell me. And if you do, we'll be speaking the same language, all right? Where are those rings, Martin? Where are they?
Listen, Clark, I told you I don't have them.
You're lying. I know you took them out of the store because I saw you run out of the place and beat it up the street.
Well, if you'd hung around, you'd have seen me nabbed and hauled off to police headquarters.
If you were caught by the police, you'd still be in jail.
Not me. I ain't got no record, remember? Blackie and that cop Faraday took me down there, checked on me, and let me go.
All right, you ran into trouble, but you got out of it. Now, where are those rings?
I ain't got
You
them.
took them out of the store, so why haven't you got them?
Calm down and give me a chance to tell you.
I'll give you just 10 seconds to hand over those rings. I spotted a jewelry store and cased it for you. Now, don't try to cross me.
Hey, now, look, don't get tough, or maybe I'll just leave the rings lay right where they are.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, I will. Hey, let go of me.
Sure. After I've taught you a little lesson.
Huh?
Hey, Abby, Atonum.
Hey, who's that monster?
He's a character wanted for murder in Europe. A friend of mine sent him to me for Christmas.
Friend, huh?
He don't understand no English, but he's tough. I'm going to prove that to you.
Yeah?
Abby.
There's Bruno.
Abby, lead a lock.
Sena. Hey. Sena. Hey, call this guy off. Call him off, I'll tell you. Call him off. Almost broke my jaw, Clark.
Abby, Stroof Gondolak.
Yes, Dragnet.
You lay off now, Martin. That is, unless you still have the idea you're not telling me what you did with those rings.
Sure, I'll tell you. When the jeweler was chasing me, I see a Santa Claus up the street ringing his bell and collecting stuff.
So?
So when I passed him just before Blackie grabbed me, I threw the rings in a big iron pot the Santa Claus had. Nobody saw me, and I know how to get them back.
You better. You know, I thought for a minute there that you was going to be the only guy in history who gave Santa Claus a present.
Blackie, what's the
Yeah.
matter with you and Inspector Faraday? Everybody else in this restaurant is having fun, but look at you two.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mary. And I don't like what that guy Joe Martin did to us this evening.
And I don't like the fact that we had nothing on him in the file at headquarters.
No, eat your dinner, both of you.
All right.
This is Christmas Eve, and we're supposed to be having a party.
When we let Martin go, my appetite went with him.
Well,
Blackie, what did he do with those rings?
Who knows? He took them according to the jeweler, but he got rid of them somehow without being seen. Apparently he didn't throw them away because we searched the street.
well, when you two see Santa Claus, tell him that what you want for Christmas is an explanation of how Martin got rid of those rings.
Hey, wait a minute, Mary. That's not a bad thought. No. I know how those rings were hidden and why they haven't been found.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Blackie. What's Santa Claus got to do with that?
Martin gave the rings to Santa Claus.
What? Blackie, haven't you heard? There ain't no Santa Claus.
There was one ringing a little bell on the corner near the jewelry store.
Yes, and Martin passed him just a few seconds before I caught up with him.
Yeah, but how would Martin give those rings to Santa Claus without Santa Claus knowing it?
By tossing them in his collection bucket, Faraday. Come on, we're getting out of here.
Blackie, that Santa Claus won't still be there.
No, but all those street corner St. Nick's are working for the Welfare Society.
Yeah, so?
I'll call them, and they'll tell me where we can find the guy.
You think Santa Claus still has the rings, huh?
Yeah. If Martin hasn't found him by now and taken them back, in which case we'll find Santa Claus has been clipped.
Who is it?
Joe Martin, Clark.
Come in.
It's me.
Never mind the introduction. Where are the rings?
Well, keep Two-Ton Tony from Tibet away from me. I got the rings right here.
Well, where I want them is right here in my hand.
Sure. Here you are.
Thanks. Have any trouble with Santa Claus?
Yeah, no, the plan worked great.
Good.
You'll never even be able to tell anybody I was there.
Now be a good little boy. And I take you in to see Santa Claus, Faraday, and maybe he'll bring you a nice little promotion.
Yeah. Look, he's an off-duty Santa Claus right now.
I know.
According to the Welfare Society, his name is Henry James. How many more flights are there? Only this is a fine way to spend Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we may spend from now till New Year's working on a murder case, Faraday, if the welfare agency was right.
Yeah.
And another guy phoned for information about this same Santa Claus just before we did.
I know.
Oh, finally, here's the door.
Yeah, if he's in the kind of trouble you claim he is, he won't be in any condition to answer the door.
Don't remind me.
You and your theories. You had no right to think he's dead.
I hope I'm wrong. But I'll guarantee you, if he's not dead, he's tied up or unconscious or both.
Well, if you're so smart, you have that all figured out. You ought to be smart enough to know the only way we'll get in is to open the door ourselves.
Brilliant deduction, Inspector.
Yeah, it's all mine.
I'll try the door to see if it's locked.
Blackie, how do you think up such wonderful ideas?
Uh-oh. Somebody's opened it for us.
Oh, sorry to keep you gentlemen waiting so long. I was taking a nap.
Are you Henry James?
Yes?
The Santa Claus on the corner near that jewelry store that was robbed earlier this evening?
Yes, I am.
Well, I'm Boston Blackie, and this is Inspector Faraday of the police.
Oh, how do you do?
How are you?
I saw you catch the thief, Blackie.
You did?
Won't you come in?
Thank you. James.
Yeah?
Did you have a visitor a little while ago?
A visitor?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no visitor.
No one came here and held you up to get back the 4 stolen rings he tossed in your collection?
Why, no, Inspector Faraday. No one's been here. And my collection bucket's right here on the table, untouched.
This collection bucket of yours hasn't been touched, James?
Certainly not.
Blackie, according to you, Joe Martin tossed the rings in the Santa Claus collection bucket. This is it.
I know.
According to you, Martin called the Welfare Society and found out where this particular Santa Claus lived.
Somebody asked about Mr. James before I called.
You don't say. But Mr. James says nobody's been here.
Well, he ought to know.
And you ought to know how ridiculous you are. I've looked through this collection bucket and there are no rings here. Nothing but coins. Santa Claus wasn't held up here. No rings were ever dropped in his bucket out on the street. Blackie, how wrong can a guy get?
And now, back to Boston Blackie. Joe Martin steals 4 rings from a jewelry store. Just before he is caught by Boston Blackie, he runs down the street and tosses the rings into the collection box of a street corner Santa Claus. Later, at Santa's room, he apparently recovers the jewelry. But when Blackie and Inspector Faraday come to see Santa, whose real name is Henry James, insists that his collection box has not been touched. As we return to our story, Blackie continues his questioning of Santa Claus.
Look, Mr. James.
Yeah, Blackie.
Faraday is going back to headquarters because he thinks I'm wrong.
Well, maybe he's right.
But I still say that Martin tossed those rings into your collection bucket.
Believe me, Blackie, the collection is right here. It's untouched.
Yeah.
I was about to take it to the Welfare Society, and as I said before, no one's been here to see me. No one, but you and the inspector.
You're sure you're not playing Santa Claus to Joe Martin?
Working with a thief? I should say not. I don't know why you should think so.
Because when I called the Welfare Society to get your name and address, I was told there'd been another call inquiring about you just a half an hour before.
Is that so?
I think that was Joe Martin calling to find out where he could find you.
Well, no Joe Martin came here, Blackie. In fact, nobody did.
And you've been right here in your room ever since you came back to get out of your Santa Claus suit?
Yeah, Blackie. Every minute, No, wait. I was out for just a minute on the telephone at the end of the hall.
Who was on the phone and when was this?
Oh, about 20 minutes ago. It was a man at the Welfare Society asked me if I'd collected a lot of money tonight.
Did the man say who he was?
No, just that he was an officer of the society. I wouldn't have known him if he had given his name. I work for the society only at Christmas time.
That's it, then. While you were on the phone talking to Martin or some friend of his, either Martin or an accomplice slipped in here and got back those stolen rings. Isn't that possible?
Well, yes, it is. My back was to the hall while I was on the phone, and the door to this room was partially open.
And thanks to what you've just told me, Mr. James, this case is practically closed. Now, Mary, don't stuff me so full of pillows that I can't stand up.
Blackie, you want to look like a big, fat, jolly Santa Claus, don't you?
Yes, but not like an overstuffed chair.
There. You're well padded and your coat's buttoned up. Now, try on your beard and let's see how you look.
Say, if I get clipped with this thing on my face, you might say my assailant is beating around the bush.
Oh, Blackie.
Well, how do I look?
With your cap on, I'd never know you, and that would be all right with me.
Well, you think that Joe Martin will know me?
Oh, I don't think so. He doesn't know you as well as I do to begin with. I wish you wouldn't try this, though, Blackie.
It's the only thing I can do, since Faraday wouldn't give me any help but Martin's address.
Well, in a way, he can't be blamed for not offering you any help. This isn't a murder case.
That's
and
true.
Besides, you've been wrong all along.
According to him, that is.
Well,
young lady, hand me that sack of phony presents, and I'll put this case in the bag.
Faraday, homicide.
Hello, Inspector. This is Mary Wesley.
All right, let's have it, Miss Wesley.
Have what?
Blackie's newest theory on how to make me waste my time.
Blackie's newest plan isn't going to waste any of your time, Inspector. In
That's
fact,
new.
you may not have enough time to get down there and help him.
Get down where?
Well, after you gave him that fellow Martin's address, he got dressed in a Santa Claus suit and went down there alone.
What's he bothering Martin for?
Well,
we haven't got anything on him.
Blackie is positive that Martin retrieved those stolen rings from Santa Claus's collection bucket.
And I'm positive Blackie's positively out of his mind.
Well, anyway, I think you ought to go over to Martin's right away. You know the way Blackie's little schemes sometimes get him into trouble.
This time I hope he gets himself into plenty of trouble.
Well, gee.
Maybe it'll get him out of my hair.
I gotta hand it to you, Clark. That was
Yeah.
a slick trick calling that Santa Claus at his house and keeping him on the phone while I sneaked in and got the rings out of his collection.
That was just luck that it worked. What would we have done, Martin, if he'd taken his collection right down from his corner to the Welfare Society?
Yeah, that would have been just too bad, I guess.
Too bad for you.
Why?
Well, because my boy Abby knows how to use a gun as well as his fists.
Hey, look, you got the rings back, didn't you?
Yeah, sure, over there on the table. I came to your room to be sure I got him back. But Abby's going to be my chief assistant from now on, in charge of guys who make mistakes. Understand?
Okay, I understand. But it's sure going to be tough working with a guy who can't speak English or understand it.
I don't want him to be easy to work with. If you can't talk to him, you can't get friendly with him. Trigger men shouldn't have friends. They can...
Hey, wait a minute. Who's there?
Santa Claus.
Get rid of him, Martin.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, son. Merry Christmas.
Hey, fatso, beat it.
The same Santa, Martin?
No. Beat it, Mac. You got the wrong house.
Oh, Merry Christmas, my boy. Can you spare
Beat it, I said.
Now, wait a minute, Martin. He's collecting for the poor. Let him come in a minute.
Okay. Come on, Santa. Come on in.
Thank you. And a Merry Christmas.
What do you want from us, Santa?
Oh, anything you care to give. Just anything to help make it a Merry Christmas for the poor. Like those 4 diamond rings on the table there.
How about letting me give that beer to you as a tart?
Hey, no.
Hey, it's Boston Blackie.
I thought it was some kind of gag. Watch out, he's going to swing that sack he's carrying.
You'll have to swing it faster than that.
Oh. Good work, Martin. You really flattened him. Now get him up on his feet. I've got a gun on him.
Sure. Oh, come on, Blackie, get up.
Thanks.
Hey, what are you going to do with him? You can't kill him here.
I'm going to turn him over to Abby and let Abby take him for a little walk. Hey, Abby.
This is pretty dangerous, Clark.
Be a whole lot more dangerous if Blackie stays alive. Don't forget he's seen the rings, and I'm wanted for murder out west, and Blackie can describe me.
I sure can.
Hey, Abby. What's the matter with that big hunk? Sanya, Abby. Yeletak Jalarof Yasada Nugula.
Sena.
Okay, Martin, he knows.
Just what kind of language is that?
Quiet, Blackie. All you have to know is that Abby's taking you for a walk with a gun in your back.
Oh, that's pleasant.
Abby Uka.
Sena. Sena. Come on, Clark. Have Abby get this guy out of here. The cops may not be far behind him.
We better wait until those carol singers outside go away.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. They won't suspect anything. I'll have Abby take them out right now.
But what about those carol singers? They're just outside the house.
I'll tell Abby to keep a gun on Blackie and shoot him if he opens his mouth.
Hey, I got a better idea. Make Blackie sing and keep him singing. Then it'll seem like he's happy going down the street with Abby.
Yeah, good idea.
I'm really not in good voice this evening, gentlemen.
And you won't be in good condition when Abby gets through with you.
Quiet, Martin. Hey, Abby. Suraretsum, Blackie Lingo. Finistuda. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
All right. Go on, get going. Start singing, Blackie. Go on, start singing.
A command performance, huh? Oh, I didn't know you had such an appreciation for my talent.
So long, Blackie. So long.
So long.
I said keep singing, Blackie. If you stop once more, Abby will shoot.
I won't stop then. So long.
So long, sucker. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in the one-horse open sleigh. Give me help, I can't yelp, but I'm on a spot. Where we'll go, I don't know, but I know I'll be shot.
Hey, you hear what that guy said?
When I passed, jump him fast. Oh, listen to my squawk.
Hey, listen to those
I have
words.
to sing this silly thing, 'cause he'll kill me if I talk.
Hey, I don't think that
what
guy's
you speak to him is Greek. He doesn't know a thing.
Come on, let's jump the guy.
So
Watch out for
that's
gun.
why I just passed you by and let you hear me sing.
All right, now get him.
That's it, fellas. Here, let me at him, fellas. I can take care of him myself now.
Hey, nice punch, mister.
Nice going yourself, fellas. For understanding those words I was singing.
Okay, but at first we thought you were nuts. Hey, here comes a police car. Hey, Blackie, you all right?
Well, Faraday, you decided to give me some help after all.
Yeah. When Miss Wesley phoned me and said you were going through with your crazy plan, I thought I'd better get down here and keep you out of trouble. Who's the big guy on the sidewalk?
The guy working for Martin and his buddy who was going to give me a one-way ride into the country.
Oh, great.
He's safe here. Let's go into the house and get Martin and his friend who wanted to go out west.
Yeah, come on. Oh, look. There they go making a break first.
Yeah. Well, let's break up that break.
Stop, you. Stop in the name of the law.
Watch out, Faraday. They're trying to shoot their way out.
This'll stop him.
Yeah, that made him stop. Come on, let's grab him.
Watch out, Blackie. That guy's got a gun.
You bet I have.
You're not going to get a chance to use it, though, boy. I've got this one. Take care of the other one, Faraday.
Don't tell me what to do.
Okay, lay off, copper.
No more, Blackie, no more.
Okay, Martin, no more. If you give me those rings.
Clark's got them.
Come on, you, Clark. Let's have them.
Yeah, okay, here they are. Here.
1, 2, 3, 4. They're all there, Faraday.
Good.
And Martin, Clark, and their pal Abby are all yours.
Wow. You take these guys back to my squad car, will you, Blackie? After this chase, I'm tired.
Oh, great, old man.
Yeah.
I go all out to catch these guys, and you're the one who's all in.
More on turkey, Inspector Faraday?
Yeah, a little bit, Miss Worthing.
And Blackie, how about you?
Oh, I'll have more of everything, Mary.
You.
Yeah, if turkey were brain food, I'd say you had plenty of room for it, Blackie.
Now, Inspector, this is Christmas Day. You and Blackie promise not to fight.
Mary, he's still upset because the case we just worked on didn't involve a murder.
You talk as if I like murder, Blackie.
You must like it, Inspector. The way you've murdered that turkey.
Very droll.
You mean very drool, don't you?
Now she's telling me what I mean. This thing must be contagious.
You know, Inspector, I'm glad the stolen rings case wasn't more complicated than it turned out to be.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it solved before Christmas was over.
Me too. Well, Inspector, men generally put a ring on a finger. But because Clark and Martin stole some rings, we put the finger on them. Hello, everybody. This is Dick Calmer. Every week after we finish one of our Boston Blackie shows, I indicate what I hope we'll be doing the following week.
Look, Blackie.
Now, just a second. This time, it's going to be a little different.
Blackie, what's with you? What is going on here?
Just a minute, Faraday, please.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, I said I'm not going to tell you what we will be doing next week.
That's good.
I'm going to tell you what we hope you will be doing.
Very confusing.
Isn't almost everything confusing to you, Inspector? Listen, everybody.
What for?
Now, patience, Faraday, patience. Next week, I hope you and everyone you know and love will be enjoying the best holiday season you ever had.
Yeah, now...
That the next year will be a great year for all of you.
Could I say something, Blackie?
You, Inspector, can say anything, and you probably will.
Well, all I say is, Merry Christmas to our listeners, Blackie. Merry Christmas to them all. Well, genius, how about one of your usual taglines?
Not this time, Faraday. Mm-hmm. All I say to everybody from Mary Wesley and all our cast is, until our next meetings, season's greetings.
Thank you for tuning into Detective Radio. We bring you new episodes of mystery, suspense, and thriller stories every week. To keep getting our updates, give us a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. For those looking to lend a little extra support, follow the link in the description. Good night. Stay alert. Until the next crime.